Viewer listener discretion is advised. The majority of the content of this program is not factual. It is highly advised that it not be used for teaching your children from said content, other than making an example out of the hosts of what they should not grow up to be. Remember this, it's the beer talking.
Welcome to the truth about beer.
All the crap that we're interested in.
Searching
for the truth. Exploring the unexplained. Investigating the paranormal. Subscribe now.
Hit the alert
button so you don't miss an episode.
Ow!
Welcome to the truth about
beer.
and
Life in the late 1800s was vastly different from today, especially for young people. The era was marked by industrialization, economic shifts, and social changes that created both opportunities and hardships. Many children and teenagers had to work to help support their families. They worked in factories, mines, and textile mills. Young workers faced long hours, low pay, limited job options. Education was not easily accessible for all children, particularly those from poor families. Exams in the late 1800s were quite difficult by today's standards, especially for students in rural areas with limited access to formal education. Many schools used rigorous oral and written exams that tested a broad range of knowledge, often emphasizing memorization, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills. Would you be able to pass the final exam in the late 1800s? Find out tonight on The Truth About Beer and
brain knowledge. Man, thanks for hanging, or at least if you were.
If you did hang.
If you did hang.
If you didn't, we
sorry
don't
for the late start.
We had a power outage, which is very unusual.
A first for us here at the Truth About Beer and
Yeah, sucked. It's very dark outside and people are
so
scary.
we didn't wait to open the first beers we were going to have. So.
Partook already.
It was actually pretty
early.
decent. It was pretty decent.
And for you to like it, that's
I
unusual.
finished it in less than 15 seconds.
Yeah,
No, it was good. It was
it
good.
is good.
I need some more though.
So, of course, I did one of my little endeavors through Total Wine and couldn't find anything that dealt with school or schoolhouses. So,
No
You were looking for
schoolhouse
a
themed
beer.
beers. That's so weird.
well, you never know,
I need something
for
children.
So I did some quick Googling and searched back in the 1800s and looked up, the different type of beers that were popular during that time. And one was a lot were the German beers that were popular back in the day. And why can't I think of what the hell it was called?
Hefeweizen?
No, it's not Hefeweizen. It's
Winstefeiner?
I can't remember it. Anyway,
Oktoberfest?
no.
I
It
don't
was
fucking know.
specifically like a German.
Obviously, we wouldn't know what it is. Anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And
So-
why are you looking at me when you say 1800s?
Rammstein.
Oh, I was just looking. I look at our guests. too.
Okay,
That's
well,
what it is.
Well, I noticed here on the bottle it says that this was brewed under the purity law of 1516.
They had laws in 1516.
Apparently so.
Purity laws.
That's interesting.
No rust or rats.
And how do you pronounce this beer? Is it
Winstefeiner.
Weidenstephaner here?
Yeah,
Gwen
yeah.
Stefani?
It's Gwen Stefani. I'm pretty sure it's Gwen Stefani.
Wines. I don't know.
Wine and Stephaner.
Sure, something like that.
Wien and Stephaner.
When's the bottle? Yeah.
Gwen Stefani. Gwen Stefani. Yeah.
We and Stefan.
Gwen Stefani. Yeah.
It's a Heffen
It's a
Whisper.
heifer. It's
You
a
don't have to
It's a
emphasize.
wet-
the-
it's
Gwen Stefani,
it's a
wipe her
whiskey.
off.
There you go.
But it is good.
God, I can't think of what it was called. Anyway, that doesn't really matter, does it? Now?
It was beer.
It was
The
beer.
beer's gone anyway, so what's the difference?
Be an old Democrat.
That's
Gwen
true.
Stefani, wipe her off.
Oh, wait. You know what we should do at least
At least
for the
pour it.
rest of this?
Pour it, yeah, because God, you go
Got
down.
to see what it
Ah,
looks like.
It's all fizzy.
Yeah, that's going to give everybody a good idea.
There you go. It's got a nice
Yeah,
color
We got
to it.
another bottle.
that
there.
works
Oh,
out.
give me that one. Just kidding. You don't have to. What's in all those
Look at
other
that.
cans?
It's different beers.
Different
gotta-
beers because we partook in this already, so we can't not have beer.
You gonna hand them out or not?
You want to pour yours and then we'll
Sure, I'll do it. Why not?
Get your church key out.
we'll join.
We'll split her.
Do you still have some left in here? Because I feel like we're being left out.
Apparently, we're not the guests we thought we were.
I guess not. No, I'm not a guest.
You're not a beer drinker anyway.
I know. That's what makes it
I'll
special.
have a little bit, and I'll pass it over.
I want a can.
I thought that she brought some beer up.
She did it.
She did.
There's
She did.
a whole
She
bucket
did.
over there.
Well, why am I sitting here
They're
without a beer?
bogarting it.
Nobody's gonna like that one.
What is it?
Nice try. Nice try, Joe.
What's it say on it?
Here's one for
It's a
for
rosemary.
Dan.
I'll take that.
I need a basic bitch one.
You might like this one.
Yeah, you probably would like that one, Jack. It's good.
Is it gay?
Yeah. No, it's not gay. It's good.
Why do you think I want to like it then?
Don't get us kicked off.
Why are
please.
you drinking?
Yeah, don't get us
You're
kicked off.
drinking Pepsi and beer.
That's a good combination.
Can't say that either. This,
No.
this place sucks.
All right, so tonight we got a lot to talk about, actually. So let's kind of get rolling into it. So,
Well, we have a special guest.
we do, and it's good to have you back on again. We had you back. We had you on in season 1, episode. Remember what
3, I
episode
think.
was?
I think it was
No,
3.
it wasn't
3?
I think it was 5.
5.
It was
So-
episode 5.
I was off a little bit.
Oh yeah, it would have been 5.
Yeah, because 3 was our paranormal episode.
Yeah, and then
So-
we did
Us,
one with
and then
Mhm.
we're on.
about it.
So.
And the point is,
It's been a while.
Welcome
We're doing
back. We want to have you back on.
Oh,
So,
We're doing a recap.
and want to
It's
talk
like-
about some of your books, because
Mhm.
at the time we talked, I think you only had 2 books out at the time.
probably.
You had Butterfly Wish and 2 Different Worlds.
That's correct. Yes. Yes.
That would have been over 5 years ago.
That would have been over 5 years. You accomplished a lot in that 5 years.
He's been here since then.
I know, but not
Okay.
talking in the sense.
You're
of
confusing the
being-
hell out of me.
being an-
I'm like, I was
He hasn't
there.
been on the truth about beer. And
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
I'm stupid.
Yeah. So your first book was Butterfly Wish,
Correct.
which we talked about, and
Yes.
then the second one we talked about was Twice Upon a Time.
That's the one I was there
Correct,
for.
Yeah. And then you had Soul of Juby Walker.
Correct. Soul of Juby Walker. Yes. Yes.
Did
and
I
that
say that
did
wrong?
inspire one of our episodes.
Yes, you did.
It did.
Yeah.
I remember that. Then you had So Gently Goes the Hummingbird.
Right.
Then your Christmas story,
Right.
Christmas for the Heart.
Yes. Christmas. Yeah. For the heart. Right.
Yep. Then Tasting Raindrops.
No, that's not out yet.
That's not out yet,
Ooh.
but it is one of your books.
Yes, it is, but
Right.
it's not out yet.
Will it be in the box
I
set?
put it up there anyway. Okay.
Okay.
The box set. But your latest book
Do the box set.
is Shadows from My Past.
Correct. Oh, you both have it.
In stereo.
Wow.
Oh, I gotta take. Hold on, Joey.
Oh.
I gotta take that away. There you go.
There we go.
Ta-da.
There we go.
Or we should have Jack hold it, and then
He's a
it'll be in
good-looking
stereo,
guy.
right?
Yeah, that would be a stereo.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Ooftka. Ooh, it's a hardcover, too.
It is
Yeah.
hardcover.
That would actually last in my truck better than the other one did.
Well, I asked you if you wanted one. You never answered me.
Well, because I didn't know. I didn't know it was a
I guess you
hardcover.
won. I guess you won.
So you've accomplished a lot over the last 5 years. You put
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I'm 5 years older.
That's
That always works.
kind of a given.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, that's sort of a gimme. You didn't really accomplish that. It just happened. This is an accomplishment.
Okay.
I got older, too. Didn't
We all
accomplish
got
shit.
older, unfortunately.
This is really kind of amazing to me that you have this much in you. Like the ability to write stories is a big deal.
Well, it's amazing, but the problem with it is nobody reads anymore.
That's very good. That's a very good point.
It's
I hardly
very
read.
hard to get people to read anymore. And they'll read the best-selling authors, the ones they know, the James Pattersons and the Tom Clancy's and all those guys. And they're good. Don't get me wrong. They're real good writers. But being a new writer, very tough.
What about
Very
like the
hard.
Pocket FM stuff? Can
Still
you get in?
tough.
Can you get in on that?
I probably could. I haven't looked into it, Jack. But
Because
yeah,
I've listened. That's what I listen to,
Yeah, I probably could get into it.
and I don't know if they're good stories or not, but I like it.
I don't know.
It's
I've
easy.
never even heard of it.
I haven't heard of it either.
Yeah.
No.
It's
Yeah, it's popular. It's pretty
stories like
popular.
stories like this, like good stories that aren't
Mhm.
really, they're not by anybody famous or anything like that. But
Right.
I've got 2 stories going on right now that I listen to, and that's it's a minimal investment.
Huh.
And they're audiobooks.
There,
right?
yeah, there's audiobooks, and there's little illustrations with it.
Yeah.
There's kind of just little illustrations on there, and
But
you don't
the-
have to watch it.
There is a cost factor when you're doing it on your own for audiobooks.
Oh, I bet.
It's very high.
I bet.
Is it really?
Well, you know enough guys. You could have an audiobook put together for you because you got guys who can record stuff and guys who are good at voices and stuff like that.
Yeah, you could. Right. Yeah,
I just don't know how you. I don't know how you release it after that.
I don't know. But even the ones that I hear that pay for these services, professional, I guess, narrators.
Yeah.
They have a problem with the punctuation and when they should stop and when they shouldn't. The author may express it one way and they read it a different way. It's very frustrating because my first book, Butterfly Wish, at that time, you could go on like, what's the name of the girl that we have on the phone?
The girl on the phone?
Siri.
Siri.
Oh,
Siri or Alexa.
Oh, well,
Alexa's
Siri's on
in
the
there,
phone.
yeah. Siri's
Alexa's on the little
Alexa's the-
pods, but
Okay.
Siri's on the phone.
Well, anyway, one of them, you could say, read my book, Butterfly Wish, to me, and she would do that.
They'll
But
both
they
do
stopped-
it.
yeah.
They'll both do it. Alexa and Siri
yeah.
would do it. Yeah.
But they stopped doing that for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, they made all the auto reader things are stupid as hell now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would listen to them read, and they did all right, but there were certain pauses that they did or shouldn't have done when I didn't want it. And it could be frustrating too.
There's no dramatic effect or any kind of inflection at all.
Right.
I give it that. That's like one of the things that's annoying listening to the books like on Pocket FM that I listen to.
They just read straight through.
Well, no, there's some attempt at it, but it's you can tell when they miss, and it's hilarious how many typos are in there that it reads incorrectly, and my brain can decode it and go like, oh, that's not what it was supposed to say. But it's
Right.
interesting to me
And
how
typos are another problem because no matter how much you edit your book, if you self-edit it, it's like like a lawyer defending himself in court. You're not going to see what you should see.
Right.
So you have to get an editing, and that's costly unless you buy software editing. And I purchased 2 software editing programs, and they both do 2 different things.
Right.
So I correct everything on the one, and then I run it through the second one, and I got to do a different
good
correction.
gracious.
And it gets to the point where it's so frustrating. Like I did one, I think it was from So Gently Goes the Hummingbird.
Right.
I think that they said there was too many commas.
Oh, really?
I didn't put them in; they put them in.
That's funny,
You can't win. It's very frustrating.
but it proves that that's an accomplishment because that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
It is
a lot of
It's
sweat.
a lot of research, and this one is particularly close to me because my co-author passed away in November of 2023,
Sorry to hear that.
and this was his story. This was about his life in South Bronx in the 1950s and 1960s with the teenage gangs and all that stuff.
Is this a facsimile of him? Is that
No,
age?
no,
Okay,
not at all.
see, he's a
No.
good-looking dude.
No. He was good looking anyway, but that's not him. No. And we were halfway through this. We had all the notes, but we had been halfway through, writing the story, and he passed away.
Mhm.
So it's very personal to me, and I had to be careful because it's a very violent book. There's a lot. I mean, the teenage gangs in those days were no better than the ones today. They were pretty violent too. And so you have to be careful who reads it because some people could be offended by it. There is a warning at the beginning, but when you're writing something and you're trying to read the mind of somebody that's passed away, it's difficult. And even with all the notes, I didn't know just how far I should go. I did send it to his daughter, who's author. She's also an author. She writes children's books, and she read it. She said, "No, it's fine. Go with it." So I said, "Okay, if you're fine with it, then I'm fine with it."
Very cool.
So I went with it. But yeah, so that and Butterfly Wish mean a lot to me because Butterfly Wish was the story about him and I when we were in the Air Force. It's fiction, of course, and the characters are fiction, but a lot that happens in the story we either saw, experienced, or heard about. So it's kind of a personal thing to me, Butterfly Wish. So these are the 2 that are on the top of my list. The other ones are all good, but I'm just saying these were more self-influence, if you want to say it, so as far as that goes.
So Christine's granddaughter loves your Christmas from the Heart.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't put that in print. It's only on ebook. I strategized that because I said, let me see, it's a Christmas story, so that means it's seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not so sure how well that'll do with a printed book. So let me just throw it on ebook and see how well it does. And it did pretty good on ebook. So
Well, there's a lot less cost involved, right?
about $1,000 less.
That's $1,000
It's
bucks.
significant.
$1,000
Yeah, it's
bucks.
significant.
Well, when you're spending the money you spend on
Right.
these books, $1,000 is not. It won't change your mind if you want to do so.
I feel you. Yeah. You got to have the motivation, the
Right,
desire to do it
right.
to begin with,
Right.
to invest your time, let alone the money.
Right.
So
But a lot more people read ebooks than they do regular books now.
Yeah.
Now, if you listen to Amazon, they'll tell you I'm wrong, but I know I'm right.
hey, either way, tip them a cap because it's something I don't have the tenacity to get through.
You'd
But
be
I love that you
surprised.
do it.
You'd be surprised what you can do when you put your mind to it.
That's the
It's-
part I don't put my mind to
Well,
shit.
then don't bother doing it. Then.
That's exactly right.
It takes a lot of dedication. because
Someday when I'm mad, I'll just dictate shit to somebody.
you
they can
can
write
do
it
that
down.
too. There are writers that do that.
Oh yeah, because that's the way to go. Like lazy
Oh,
book
yeah.
writing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Somebody take a note.
But it's a long, lonely occupation if you could call it an occupation. And there's a lot of work involved. And people, it's nice to know that somebody likes your stories.
Yeah.
But there's always that question: could I have done better with that story? Are my characters strong enough? You always second guess yourself with that stuff.
Plus, yeah, there's a certain level of like genuine insanity that has to exist in order to be a really, really successful writer.
Yes, I agree.
I don't think you're fucked up enough to be a world class.
Oh, so in other words, I can't be a painter either. Because
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Neither can I.
That's a good story. Yeah, that's
what I always go with. Is I'm not messed up, but not that messed up.
I don't think you have to be crazy to be a writer, but there's so many crazy writers out there, and I'm not going to mention any names because I'll get sued. But there's a lot of them out there that when they're writing their books. If I tell you this, you're going to know who it is. I think you'll know who it is. But
can't say his name, but
I won't say his name. But when he's writing, he locks his den, and his wife has to slip the food under the door.
Yep.
He's got a wife.
Story. He does.
And he usually orders peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Because, brain food.
Whatever works.
But he's also sold millions and millions of books.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So who's laughing last?
Yeah, exactly. So your story really kind of plays into tonight's episode a little bit, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I want to play that beer commercial that you sent because I think it's funny, and you can put some context behind it. So
sure,
I'll play the video first, and you can kind of talk about it.
Okay.
All we need is someone to do the commercials for 2 weeks while we're on vacation, Harry.
I think this man will be pretty good, Bert. Bob Hetrick.
Okay, Bob. Take it from the top.
Okay. Hello, friends. This is your name.
Don't read that. Give your own name there.
Oh, okay. Hello, friends. This is Bob Hetrick. He pours out the beer.
Oh, my.
Friends, today's Peels has a long-lasting head that holds. In the fresh poured
Not
flavor.
like that, you bubble brain. Today's Peels has a long-lasting head that holds in the fresh poured flavor all the way down. That means that Peels, with its long-lasting, natural, creamy crown, keeps the good beer flavor the whole glass full, see?
Oh, sure.
All right, take it from be sure to pick up.
Be sure to pick up a pickaxe.
That six-pack.
A six-pack of today's Peels. The
Oh,
beer
my
that keeps its
word.
creamy crown. Today's Peels is really the beer drinker's beer.
Well, he's got it now, Bert.
So this is your old friend, your name, saying so long.
Yeah, they were
funny.
Bert and Harry from the 1950s, and believe it or not, I know the cartoon is kind of like old-fashioned and would never play today, but they were very popular back then, very popular, and they pushed that Peels beer where it became very successful in New York. And the two guys that did the narration, I guess you say the talk over, or whatever you want to call it, Bob and Ray, were very popular radio stars in the 40s and 50s. In fact, they were the voices of, I don't know if you guys remember the show. You might not. Amos and Andy?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. And they're supposed to be portraying African Americans in Harlem. And these two guys are whiter than white. But they were so good at it, nobody picked up on it for years. They thought, they didn't know that it was Caucasian guys doing these African Americans. And they were quite good at it. But then when it went to TV, of course, they had to get real. And they hired African American actors. But actually, they did a pretty good job. But they're the voices for Harry and Bert Peel.
That's awesome. Didn't know that.
Yep.
So is that beer still around?
I don't think so. No, it was a New York beer. Yeah, it's a New York beer. I had another one that I wanted. I just sent it to Keith too late, but another beer called Rupert's Knickerbocker beer was another big New York beer. And the irony of that beer was that Jacob Rupert, the owner of the distillery, owned the New York Yankees when Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig played. And yet his beer was a commercial product for the New York Giants baseball team at the same time.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it is.
I think we talked about that in your first episode. We talked about the Knickerbocker beer and the Rheingold.
Okay. Yeah, Rheingold was another one. Yeah, with the Rheingold girls and everything.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Conflict of interest.
Do we remember the beer that we drank that night, though?
I think it was Pabst Blue Ribbon.
It was
right.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Ribbon.
That's right.
And it was terrible.
PBR.
It was our least favorite. I think.
Garbage.
Out of all of them.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't one of your better ones.
But the reason I say that, what we talked about with your books kind of plays into tonight is, do you think the reason people don't read as much today is because our reading level isn't quite the same as what it was?
I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, when you tell me a fourth grader can't read fourth grade material,
Right.
what is he doing in high school, or what is she doing in high school? Yes, I definitely think reading is an art in itself, because I mean, if you're an English teacher, they're going to tell you, be careful of the commas, be careful of the question marks, all the punctuation is, and they're right. They're absolutely right, because you can change the flow of the paragraph. But the whole thing with reading is you have to focus. You have to focus on what you're reading. If your mind is over there thinking about what am I going to have at lunch while you're trying to read this story, it's not going to work. All you're reading is words, and it's not, nothing is going through that you could absorb. And that's the problem with today. People don't know how to read today.
Well, they don't have to.
Exactly, Jack.
It's
Exactly.
technology. You think about even before this level, when the most important thing to do was to know how to grow food and be able to survive.
Right.
People didn't read at all. There was a time where the general
They didn't know how to read.
Only academics and only high level
Right.
people read, because
True.
to survive, you didn't need to know how to read. And then it became more important and more ubiquitous with society. And you think of the vocabulary, the level of vocabulary has just fallen off a cliff. The amount of words that we use, even in our language, is nothing compared to what we did.
What we used to,
so many years ago. And that's because it's not necessary.
No, you don't need it anymore. I mean, even back then, they couldn't even sign their own name.
Yeah.
They used to make an X.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they didn't know how to sign. So, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it, but I don't think it's the only thing. I think there's too many distractions.
There are.
Instant satisfaction, or gratification, I should say, instant gratification that overwhelms that. Whereas, what do I want to sit down and read a book? I can turn my computer on and do anything I want, or I can watch TV, or I can do whatever I want, so it's not what it used to be. There are dedicated readers. I mean, is Christine on tonight? I know Christine's a big reader.
She's on.
Christine is a big reader. I mean, there are people that still read, but the numbers are dwindling down. Do you read, Jack?
I do, not as much. What's really funny is so 12th grade, my senior year, or sometime in high school, we spent a month reading The Grapes of Wrath, and something literally happened to my brain. I used to love to read. I used to read a lot for fun over the course of that month, and this teacher that we had just hammered it. I didn't enjoy the story. I didn't like it at all. I read it in a day and it wasn't enjoyable. And we spent a month on it. And since that point, I can read stuff and I can read pages. And at the end of it, I've retained nothing.
Yeah.
So I tried to kind of retrain my
That's
brain
the
by reading Lord of the Rings, because I figured maybe with the movies being in my head, maybe it would help with it. Because I'd read them before the movie came out.
Right.
I read them as a child and tried to reread them. And still, it's weird how many pages I'll go through. And I really, it just doesn't stay in there. I don't know what happened, but like I can read. I know how to read. I can read out loud. That's the best way for me to do it, but I don't retain shit the way that I used
And
to.
that's what most people have a problem with,
yeah.
retaining it. Because, I mean, you talk about Grapes of Wrath. John Steinbeck is hard. He's an excellent writer, but he's very hard to read. Very hard to read.
It's a stupid story.
Well, whatever.
Wasn't my favorite.
Whatever you think of the story,
Yeah.
he's a good writer, but you have to really focus with him. Whereas some writers, like the guys that write mysteries or the women that write romances, those are easier reads because they flow quicker and there's not a lot of thinking involved.
No, there's not.
The more you have to think, the less you want to read.
Well, and then that's the thing. Like when you get into imagery and innuendo and all these different things that aren't just right in your face, like there's a brick house with a pig in it, real straightforward, easy stuff. But again, the necessities is what I think is the most important. It's just, you can be a blithering idiot and be a successful person in today's society by today's societal standards. I make good money. I make a good living. I can support my family. Are you smart? No. Do you read? No, I'm an idiot, but I have a product or I have a whatever that makes me money. So good enough. It's not a requirement to be a success in today's society that you're literate or that you give a shit about reading anything.
Right, you're right.
It does make you a smarter person if you read. People who read books are far and above more intelligent. Also, not necessarily the best thing in the world, because being really smart in a world full of idiots can be painful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's something to be said for the way society's going can be looked at as a bad thing, but it kind of depends. I don't know what the end game of it is, but I look at the pyramids and I think, you know what? Somebody really smart came up with that shit.
Yeah,
we don't have a fucking clue how they did it.
Right.
But somebody moved in there and started drawing pictures of dogs on the wall.
Well, it's just that people today in general are too self-centered on what they're looking at and they don't expand their brain anymore.
Because there's no value in that.
No, there
you
isn't.
being intelligent doesn't,
You're right.
we don't value that.
The
It's like, how much money
politicians
do you
in
make?
Washington prove that every day.
Well, just society. Like, look at the dating pool of people who are younger now who are trying to have relationships. There's, 10% of them, the populace is getting all the attention from the women. And are they the smart guys? No, generally not. But, does being educated, or intelligent, or literate make you a better person in society? No, it really doesn't.
It doesn't, but
it makes you a better person for yourself and for your human experience. I think it's a positive thing, but as a societal norm, it's not required anymore. You don't have to be intelligent to be popular.
Well, that's where we lose out with our schools, with our children, because see, China, Russia.
That's what technology's done to our society.
Yes, but they have the same technology, and they still force their children
because they stifle them. They say, you're not allowed to do that. Yeah,
no,
they require them to do stuff.
Oh yeah, they require them. We don't do that.
Is it still beeping?
Something's still beeping.
It's my pacemaker.
Just went off again. So tonight we're going to take a trip back in time to the late 1800s.
Can I bring up what
yeah,
actually
go for it?
No,
what happened? So my mother-in-law was cleaning out some papers in another room, and I was working on some stuff on the computer, and she comes and lays this paper down in front of me, and it was how it used to be before email. Everybody faxed funnies and things back and forth. So this was a fax that my father-in-law had gotten years ago, and it said at the top of it, say, what it took to earn an 8th grade education in 1895 at the top of it. And so as I read down, I thought, wow, this would make a great show. Just talking about some of this stuff, because it's craziness. And so I started doing more research on it, and my notes became about 20 pages worth of stuff. Just off of this one fact. So
you just titled it "How to Feel Stupid,"
and it works.
Yeah, the first couple of lines of this, and I'm like, I'm retarded. I had no idea.
Well, I guarantee you that most people today, even that go to Ivy League schools or graduate from, could not pass that.
Well, you guys are jumping way ahead.
Yeah. So,
sorry about
don't jump that far ahead.
We're time travelers. Okay, get back to what you're saying, Joyce.
I forgot what I was saying.
Good picture. She whipped out this test. She put it on.
She did. And I thought it'd make a great episode. So
I think you're right.
We got some notes and put them together, and
let's talk about the generation.
Came up with a show.
Yeah. The in between part, I can't remember what I was going to say.
Generations.
So here we are. So
there's a thing on the screen says, "What are the generations?"
Yeah, they are. Do you know what they are?
I don't. I know of Generation X. And millennials. That's about all I know.
What generation are we talking about?
We got the lost generation from 1883 to the 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even heard of that.
Do you have specific notes on that?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So just see.
I knew you had notes.
I didn't know that.
So, I mean, yeah, lost generation, 1883 to 1900. And the reason is they were coined that. It was actually coined by Gertrude Stein. And popularized by Ernest Hemingway.
I know that guy.
Gertrude Stein wasn't she a writer too?
She must have been.
She wrote it down.
You would know. You're a writer, so
I believe she was.
Yeah.
I think she was also part of women's suffrage too.
And so it refers to those who came of age during World War I and were disillusioned by the war and society.
Fair enough.
And their key traits: they're cynical, disillusioned, artistic, and questioning of traditional values.
That's interesting.
Until you threw the word artistic in there, I was going to say one of the particular political parties we have in D.C. right now, but I'm not going to say which one.
Thank you. And the events that they lived through were, when was World War I? When did it start?
1914, I believe, and it was over in 1918.
So this is when they were born. So yeah, this would have been their. So if they were born in 83, they would have been teenage or 20s during World War I. Mm-hmm. So and the Spanish flu.
Yep.
The Roaring 20s, part of their makeup.
Yep.
And then the greatest generation which is from 1901 to 1927.
Self-titled for sure.
Named by journalist Tom Brokaw.
Yeah, figures.
I
19
didn't know
what?
that. 1901 to 1927. So they were named later because Tom Brokaw came along much later.
Right, but that doesn't sound right because the greatest generation is the ones that fought in the Second World War.
Yeah, that'd be them.
Yeah,
But they would have crossed over.
They
If
would've
if
crossed
they'd been
over.
born in 1900, they would have fought in the war.
yeah, they would have
At
been.
42 years old.
Maybe, I don't know.
Between 20,
No.
25, 42.
Hey,
I don't know. Well,
this,
we'll go with
this was on the internet.
We'll go. We'll go with
It has
your
to be right.
information. I'm just telling you that the greatest generation were the men who fought in Second World War.
So yeah, that would
Well,
have been the tail end of the.
I'll
Greatest
tell you what,
Generation.
my dad was born in 1930, so he was in the next generation, but he was too young for World War.
Right.
So yeah, it would have been the
So-
Greatest Generation.
so-
That would have been them.
So 1927.
Yeah.
Before him. So
Yeah, it would have been 1945. Would have been 18 years old.
Yeah.
That's correct.
so
Yeah, 1901 to 1927. That's right.
so anyway, yeah, named by Tom Brokaw.
What were their
And
traits?
this generation endured the hardships of the Great Depression and then fought in or supported World War II,
Right.
earning the title greatest for their sacrifices and resilience.
I'm just surprised it started that early, but okay.
Yeah, 1900. So their key traits are they're patriotic, hardworking, disciplined, civic-minded, and just, I mean, I think of my dad being in
Greatest
this, so-
generation. You just read it right there.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot of his traits.
Yeah.
Even though he's actually falls into the next
Yep.
one. But yeah, great. Or the events would have been the Great Depression, World War II, and it says early Cold War.
Right.
So after World War II is really when the Cold War kind of started to.
Yeah, and actually they're talking about probably mainly Korea at the time, 1950 to 1953, which would have been a Korean police action, as they called it.
And that would have been during the Industrial Revolution too, kind of, right? I mean,
No, that was way before.
no,
Yeah,
but
that was the 1800s.
no, but I consider I'm not talking about the one in the history books, but during World War II, we had a big boost in
That's
industry.
why our
just be-
economy
just
shot
because,
up.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
because
The
of
war brought, that got us out of the depression.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's Roswell.
exactly what it is.
That
was
too.
close. Oh, that was after this Silent Generation. So Silent Generation, I shouldn't get ahead, is 1928 to 1945. And named for their reputation as being more traditional, reserved, and hardworking, often avoiding public protest and controversy.
Interesting.
Key traits: duty-driven, disciplined, conservative,
Right.
and loyal.
And what was the years on that?
28 to
28
45.
to 45 is
That's-
their birth years.
that's
you
me.
can't say yes. Okay, so
That's me. What was that called?
You're the silent ones, so shut
generation.
up. Silent generations to be quiet.
Okay, I can
So,
buy
yeah.
that. I can buy
So you
that.
still
Whatever.
still well.
It's funny how
early
some of
on,
these generations are longer than others. Continue.
They could be. I haven't done the math.
I've been done the math that they're not even.
No, some of them are longer than others. You're right.
Yeah. So I guess it depends on the events that
Yeah.
shaped them.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So because it's the
And how
Great
many babies
Depression, World
popped
War
out?
II,
Truth.
and early Cold War II.
Yeah.
That's what they say there.
Right
And
on.
my generation is the baby boomers
Right.
from 1946 to 64.
Well, that's my wife too. Yep.
Named after the post-World War II baby boom, a period of high birth. And key traits: competitive, resourceful, and ambitious.
That's
Not
good.
the ambitious part.
You are.
You weren't ambitious.
He is.
I don't
You're
feel too
ambitious.
You're ambitious.
You're ambitious.
So we lived through the civil rights movement,
Right.
Vietnam War,
Yes, she
or
did.
should I say Vietnam?
Doesn't
Vietnam
matter.
War.
I like Vietnam.
They're not
The
here.
moon landing and economic prosperity.
And 3 assassinations.
Pow, 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 pow.
I
There's
hate
that.
to. I don't want to bust
Wait,
your bubble.
64
but
or 65?
3 assassinations.
Probably committed by
Wasn't there
those from the
assassinations?
silent generation. Or greatest.
Were those in were this before 65? All the assassinations?
No, the last one was in 68.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, 63. Well,
So there
when
wasn't-
was
Bobby Kennedy was 68. And,
Yeah, so it
and
wasn't- it
that's the
wasn't
same year
all-
King was killed too.
Oh, there's 3 of
Yeah.
them during that time.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
We had some too.
I know.
We got
I'm
some.
not
Just
saying-
saying. It wasn't all you guys. They killed people.
I'll
after
take all
we
the
were born.
credit.
You want to be proud of that?
No, I'm just saying you didn't
No.
get all of the assassinations.
No, I said 3. That's what I said.
All right,
Fair
then here we go with the majority of the folks in the room. We have
Yeah.
Gen X
Yep.
Yes,
from 1965 to 1980.
Okay.
And
Let's hit them.
so the meaning term X symbolizes the unknown,
No clue, right?
as they were seen as a transition between boomers and millennials, sometimes called the latchkey generation,
we were.
Yeah.
due to growing up with working parents.
I see that.
And your key traits are you're independent, skeptical, entrepreneurial, and you're adaptable.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And your events were the end of the Cold War, rise of personal computers, and MTV.
Wow. That's awesome that they put that in there. That's funny.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. It was huge.
We all enjoyed it, though. Really.
Does it say when we were named Generation X?
Well, during the time, it was while we were still kids. I remember. Because like X
It
Games,
doesn't
and
say.
they put X in everything. They started putting X there. I always thought it meant hardcore or extreme.
Yeah.
That's what it always kind of seemed like.
That's when we started saying Merry Xmas.
That wasn't our fault.
Just trying to save ink, or
Right.
whatever.
It's a long word to write out.
So then we have our millennials, aka Gen Y, from 81 to 96.
I've never heard
Yeah.
anybody say Gen Y, but interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
What are their traits?
That's because they had to fill that in because they got X, Y, and Z.
Tell us about their traits.
So those Y's are right there in the middle.
Because we like you.
Name for coming of age around the turn of the millennium. So yeah.
Why?
Why did they come of age at that time?
No, I said why. It's because their generation.
Why? Oh, gotcha.
Huh?
It says they're tax savvy, socially conscious, collaborative, experience driven.
Experience driven.
I don't know about the experience driven.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
sure
know
about the
that either.
driven.
No, definitely not.
Their experiences are,
Not very driven.
and their events are 9/11
What's a can
attacks, of course, rise of social media, Great Recession, smartphone revolution.
So no real stuff.
And that's when it all went downhill after that.
Smartphones and the Great Recession.
So then we have Gen Z. That's 97 to 2012. Shocker, they follow the millennials,
What the hell?
sometimes called Zoomers.
Really?
Have you ever heard them called a Zoomer?
No.
Yeah, I've heard that. I
Have you?
have heard
I
that.
never heard that Zoomer.
First generation to grow up entirely with digital technology.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
Key traits, digital natives.
Yeah. Because they've never known life without
That's true.
Oh,
the
okay.
internet. They've
Yeah.
never known life without the
Yeah.
internet. It's just
Oh,
always
well, they
existed.
are digital native, yes.
We all remember dial-up.
Okay. Socially progressive, diverse, entrepreneurial. Their events were COVID-19 pandemic,
Oh my God, was it really?
climate activism, rise of TikTok. Hello, TikTok. And school shootings.
Oh wow.
And that brings us to the present, which I had never heard this one till I
Generation
looked this
Alpha.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
So it's 2013 to present, meaning the first generation to be born entirely in the 21st century.
And out of
Yeah,
wedlock.
that's true. Yeah.
The name Alpha signifies a new beginning
Yep.
in generational labels. And
God help us.
key traits are highly digital, diverse, growing up with AI and automation.
Single parent families.
Yeah, they don't put that in here, but you're right, though. So their events are COVID-19 or the little C.
Little C. Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Shaping early childhood. Oh, well, the little C shaped early childhood for
Yes,
these
it did.
folks.
It
Yes.
did.
Rapid technological advancements and climate awareness. So
Interesting.
these are our generations.
Yeah. God help us.
Is the next one going to be beta?
Yeah, probably.
I'd
hope
be curious if that's
But
gonna
yeah,
be-
probably.
So that one. Well, I wonder when they'll draw the line on this one, because you say there's not a
15 to 17 years, it seems.
somewhere in there, huh? So this one could go to 30,
Oh,
20,
Jesus.
30, huh?
Yep. Pretty close.
But yeah, the age of AI will be in full swing
Yep.
Well, it's interesting
long
because
for that. So
24, all right, okay, 11.
they might cut that one off early. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
Why would they do
Start-
that?
just because of AI.
And make it longer.
Yeah, that's true.
Be 18 years, right?
Yeah, that's the end of that one.
That was interesting.
So what you're saying is in about 30 years, we won't be, people like us won't be sitting there doing these shows. There'll be robots or AI.
Well, it's already happening.
Yeah.
It's not going to take 30 years.
Yeah.
It's
My
already
favorite
happening.
podcast is done by AI.
Is that Allison
You're right.
Ivan?
It is
Yeah,
indeed.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing.
I don't know if it's good or bad, but I'm old fashioned, so I'll let you guys decide that.
So yeah, well, let's go clear back to that first one,
1890.
the lost generation.
I don't remember when my grandmother was. I don't know when she was born or how old she was or what generation she belonged to. But I remember being impressed because she'd only done like third grade. But we used to sit. I used to sit in bed with her Saturday mornings. We'd listen to the Country Countdown on the radio, and she had a yellow legal pad that she'd write down the name of the artist who, just wrote the whole countdown down. And I didn't know until I was much older that she did that to practice writing and spelling and shit.
Oh, okay.
'Cause she was,
Self-taught.
she learned how to do that
A
herself.
lot
so,
of them were self-taught, Jack. A
yeah, it
lot
was
of
very
them.
interesting. Because she had siblings she had to raise.
Yeah.
Well, you go back to before that, Abraham Lincoln was self-taught. He didn't do too bad.
Well, I'm thinking here because the lost generation, they say, is from 1883 to 1900. So this test is from 1895. So if they were born in 1883, then yeah, they might be. Well, that's like 12, right?
It's 12, yeah. But
When do you start 8th grade?
Yeah,
13?
that's
That's
around
about
there.
right.
14,
It's
That's
right
about
around
Yeah,
there.
that's about
Yeah.
right. 13,
It's
14.
right
yeah.
around there.
Yeah. Well, then you got to ask yourself, did they have kindergarten back then? I mean, what age were they starting school?
Yeah, you could have had
They
a
started
grader
at
sitting
fifth grade,
in a schoolhouse with a fourth grader. They didn't.
True,
they
yeah.
didn't have separate rooms for everything.
Right.
Everybody sat in the same class and they got different books. But they were, you could have 8th graders with 3rd graders.
Do you know how old you were when you started school? Do you remember?
Say that?
Do you remember how old you were when you started going to school?
5.
You're 5? Okay.
I was 5.
I think it was like 6 or something. I don't recall.
I skipped kindergarten. I was so smart.
Right into finger
My
painting.
mother said, "You're going to school and you're going to start in the 1st grade." I said, "Okay."
Yeah,
Cool.
when I went to 1st grade, it was only half a day. as
No,
well.
mine was
Oh,
a full day.
Kindergarten and 1st grade were just half days.
We had half a day kindergarten, but first
Yeah.
grade was full on.
Yeah, first grade.
They just thought I'd be too tough for kindergarten. So they just, let's push it right up to 1st grade.
Yeah.
Get them out of the school.
Yes, I was a whole half a year behind, really,
Yeah.
because we only went half a day.
Well,
Oh boy.
but I think the teachers were probably more attentive to your needs back then than they are now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think so.
Maybe.
Well, I'm not saying they were better.
I'm not saying
using
they're
the
better
word-
either. I'm not
I'm
saying they were worse.
saying I think they had a
Oh,
better grasp on the kids in their class. I think they.
well, kids would still get a whooping when I was in
Oh,
school.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I won't tell you about what happened to me a few times. Oh yeah, they had no problem with the smacking around stuff. Yeah, I had a gym teacher that straightened me out a couple of times, but that was in 8th grade.
Well, we're all still of the generation where like your friends' parents would discipline you as well.
Right.
Where
Yeah.
that's not anymore. Like you wouldn't dare lay your hands on somebody else's
you
kid.
get
But
sued, yeah,
back
forget
then, your buddy's dad has smacked the snot out of you.
You get away with
Get
it.
off the couch. Okay.
it. Oh yeah, no, back then when you were young, that was still going on.
That was still going on.
That was probably the last group
Yeah, I think
that
so.
happened with.
I think so.
When I was-
Authorization for beatings.
No, when I was a kid, I mean a young kid, because I lived in what you would call a city, urban side, side with apartment houses and stuff like that. So if your mother like called you for dinner and you didn't respond, every woman in the neighborhood started screaming out the windows. and you better get your ass home.
Well, you were of the generation where they were actually required to beat you on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah,
weren't they?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that still happened when I was a kid too. All the mothers would scream saying, "Your mom's
Yeah,
calling
but they
you
didn't
home."
beat you.
No,
yeah.
they didn't beat me.
Yeah, Jack is right.
You had to beat him.
Oh yeah,
He wasn't here on time. Wham!
yeah. Yeah, they say, "Come here, kid.
Yeah.
Did you do anything wrong today? Not that I know. I'm going to beat you."
You get a smack anyhow. Just one for being alive.
Yeah.
2 if you're punished.
All right, so this next slide is kind of interesting because if you see the way it progresses, it's kind of contradictory to how our education system is, I think, really, to be honest with you. So if you go back to the 1890s, your highest grade you'd reach would be between 5th and 8th grade. 1900s is between the 6th and the 8th grade. 1910s, it was 7th and 9th grade. 1920s, it was 8th to 10th grade. About 32% of young adults completed high school. So that's kind of a low number, I would think, right? 1930s, 9th through 11th, people made it through. The 1940s was 10th through 12th grade. About 50% of young adults completed high school. So we're getting better.
That's because the other half went into the army.
Probably. 1950s was 12th grade. 1960s was also 12th grade with some college. About 60% graduated high school. So the numbers keep going up.
Yeah.
Oh, 1970s, again, the rest of these, they've all made it to 12th grade. 80% high school with more college attendees. The first student loans were during the 70s.
Oh,
So
no. What happened
That's
there?
interesting.
And that's what caused a spike in the enrollment
Right.
in colleges. Yeah.
1980s, 12th grade, obviously, with growing college enrollment, 85% high school. Do you have notes in between these? Am I just blowing through these and you have notes that you want to
No, that's okay.
Okay.
We got a lot to get through before we get to the meat.
Okay, sorry.
So, well, I mean, we'll get to the meat after this. So.
So 1980s, growing college enrollment, 85% high school graduation. 1990s, more enrollment in tech schools, 90% high school graduation. 2000s, we got 12th grade again, obviously. College attendance at an all-time high due to federal aid, and 25% had bachelor degrees, which is interesting. 2010, 12th grade again, vocational training increased. By 2015, more than 39% had bachelor degrees. So it seems like our education is getting better, right?
Yeah.
You never know.
Sounds like it. 2020s, 40% have bachelor degrees.
That's about right. Bachelor's in painting.
Basket weaving.
Basket weaving, yeah, it helps.
And then the underlying thing is, and I think it goes back to where they stopped reporting it. So through the 2000s to now, it's still only 90% graduate high school. So there's still a 10%.
What was the percentage of vocational in the 1950s?
I don't think they even put vocational down in 50s.
I'll bet you
What's
it
their
was
bet?
higher than college. I know it for a fact.
I mean, was it more like on the job training back then for vocations?
No, they had
Or
schools
just-
too. They had vocational schools. But when you went to high school back then, you could take like
Auto shop.
Well,
Yeah.
shop and
right,
stuff
all those different shops, automobile shop, wood shop, metal shop, all these different things. And they prepare you for particular, occupations. And most of the kids, at least the kids that I knew, if they didn't go to jail, that's what they did. So I was just wondering what the number was, but I guess they didn't have it.
that's interesting. I wish they would have put something like that down. But I mean, another big vocational and educational system was joining the armed forces. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. They used to come to the schools and they bring us to an auditorium, only the 12th graders, because they were the only ones eligible. And they get a Marine sergeant or an Army sergeant or somebody, come here, hey, kids, come on, I want to talk to you, and some of them would sign that paper.
Yeah. Well, the GI Bill was a huge part of it too, in getting
Well, it really,
the push for
it
education
wasn't-
as
yes,
being
it was
important.
there, but it wasn't advertised.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's
Oh, yeah.
interesting as you see as our continuation in education and education beyond high school grows, it doesn't necessarily mean that the education that you're receiving is informationally rich. You spend more time in school, and quite honestly, for many years, school's been kind of just babysitting at least for a generation or two.
I
Where
agree with it.
the earlier years of school doesn't really educate kids on
Right.
shit.
I agree
They,
with you.
most of them come out moderately literate. The ones who are literate and are intelligent, quite my personal opinion, they would have been that way anyway because they wanted to be. Like, I didn't give a crap about going to school, but I knew the basics of education were easy for me. I didn't have to try. I graduated with average grades because I was smart enough to just do that. And what I figured out is getting straight A's and all that didn't matter to me.
You just get by.
I get by because that's all I cared to do. I was just there because I had to be. You know what I mean? But the things that I've learned in my life, I learned because I wanted to. And when people want to, they will. And when they don't want to, they won't.
They won't.
Because those people, you can give them all the motivation in the world, they're not going to do good in school because they don't give a crap
They don't
about
give
it.
a crap.
So it's interesting because society doesn't require it of you. You can be a successful person and not be educated.
Yeah, that's true.
It's interesting.
Well, I think if you're a successful person, you're self-educated.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, you are definitely. And sometimes I think when I see some of the graduates from these Ivy League schools today, and some of them I've met, and I see people like you who are streetwise, I say that education sometimes is more important than what they're getting, because what they're getting is very regimented and set up for a way of thinking, with not allowing any outside thoughts to come into this conversation. And so they're very narrow-minded when they think,
right?
Where you see the world as it really is. And I think that's important.
It's a huge part of just being a human being.
Absolutely.
Like, you can read and know everything there is to know about a carburetor until you stick your hands on one and actually start turning stuff.
Right.
You don't know
Good
shit.
example.
So all that knowledge doesn't mean anything until you put it in practice. So
Exactly.
being well educated to what other people have done and learned is cool and helpful. But until you get out in the world and you actually do anything, it doesn't really mean much. You put it in practice or experience it. Like, Joey is somebody who has lived more lives than a lot of people, just in where he's lived, the things he's been through, you know what I mean? And you're humble about it, but the reality is you're a very intelligent person and you're a very experienced person. I love that about you because you have the ability to see things from a lot of different perspectives because you've met a lot of people and had a lot of people in your life that have different experiences. And all that is so much more important to me than reading, having degrees and stuff. I don't know if you have any degrees.
No.
I'd believe you if you said you did, though. Because you're smart.
I've gone to lots of different schools to try to advance my education, but I'm still a quitter. I'd get through a couple semesters of a vocational type school and then get bored.
But you get what you need out of it or what you want. And then you expand on it on your own.
And then I pay my student loans.
But that's also the part where you screwed up. You don't need to pay those.
So Mama Lisa, who I know very well, this is interesting with my generation too. So she graduated from high school, but no, all the, what am I trying to say?
Higher education stuff?
Well, no, just the parents put more focus on the son getting his education.
Right.
And
than the daughters.
Yeah.
Because they figure the daughters are going to get married and have
right,
kids.
Right. So, that's the generation right there.
Right,
so it's like, okay, you get married, you marry a husband that's smart.
Right.
She missed out on that.
And if he has money, that helps too, right? If he has money, sure.
Yeah. See, that's even better. But
exactly.
I can't remember what they say to women go to college to get their, what was it? Not the WED or something like that. Or no, to get their MRS degree.
Yeah, that's going to BYU.
That was what that was from. Okay.
Yeah.
Going to get your missus.
All right, let's get into the fun part, shall we?
Because
I thought that was fun.
Well, it is all fun. Because when we read the questions to this exam to graduate from the 8th grade, realized how really, really stupid
in certain ways, and that's what I will preface it with saying that, like, when it comes to, I consider you smart. I consider myself smart. I don't think anybody in this room would be called stupid on a general basis unless we're in a fight. So, but reading these questions instantly made me feel like a moron because it's like, I don't even know what some of this stuff means. I literally don't have a clue what they're talking about.
I agree.
A lot of it, I look at it and I go, oh, I think I knew that at one point in life, but then I look at some of them and I go, I don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's wild. So yeah, we're doing 8th grade 8th grade.
Yes, but
Yes.
this stuff was very important back in 1890.
Because it was the
Fine.
beginning of trying to pass education on to people, because we're coming out. I think you're coming out of a time where, again, basic survival skills is what mattered the most. So people didn't know how to read. They didn't need to know how to read. When it became like open and okay for people to be educated on this stuff, I think they were more serious about it. And they thought this matters for the betterment of humanity and society moving forward. People need to be smart and literate and be able to communicate and pass on information.
And you'll see just how important that was.
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely
from
was.
these questions. I mean, the reading part of it.
Well, the interesting about the
Yeah.
reading part, the books that they used back in the 1890s and 1900s, I can't think of the name of them.
The Bible?
No, it's no, not that book. It's a reading book, and it's a name. I can't think of the name, but they still use it today, and I can't think of the name of
It's
it.
not hooked on phonics.
No, nothing like that. It's a very simple name, but it's still used today in lower grades to learn how to read. That's how far back it goes. I'm sure the verbiage has changed.
Everybody poops.
And no.
I'm just trying to think of the classics.
James and the Peach. No.
James and the Giant Peach.
I'll get it to you.
PFG.
I'll get it to you. I'll find it.
Not Britannica, right?
No.
I used to read encyclopedias when I was a kid. That's the difference.
Well, you
Nothing
must
wrong
have
with
been
that.
bored.
I was bored. We didn't have cable,
Fun with Dick.
but we
and Jane,
did. We did have a set of encyclopedias, and
You were
I read
probably
them.
just looking at all the naked natives.
There were no naked natives in there. The ones we had very few pictures.
National Geographic.
The most memorable picture in there was the anglerfish. Terrifying. There was one photograph of an anglerfish out of the water. I'm like, how can that exist on this planet? It was scary as hell. Anyway, you guys don't remember what that is.
All right,
Well,
so
I've seen anglerfish.
I have seen a picture of them. They are
Yeah.
creepy looking.
And the one in the encyclopedia, this was back before they had the, you know what I mean?
Right,
So there was like
right.
one picture and it's just grainy, just black and white, like, oh my, that's
what
not
you
an
picture
animal.
when they talk about piranhas. That's what you
Yeah,
have in
yeah,
your mind.
uh-huh, yeah, yeah.
And then you see a piranha go,
Snag.
"Oh, what's
That's a cute little thing.
that's cute." Yeah.
How's that eat people? All right, moving on.
All right, so anybody in the audience, if you want to take a stab at these, you're more than welcome to. Throw your answers up if you got them,
Get a
but
big knife.
we probably don't have enough time
I
in the
already
show to
failed.
cover all these. So
You know, they have 8 hours or 7 hours or
Yeah.
something
yeah,
That's what's crazy.
to take the test. So
Well, you only have 1 hour for the grammar,
yeah, grammar 1 hour.
but the
So-
totality
so-
of the test is insane.
We'll start with grammar, shall we?
all right.
Let's start with that portion of it.
So grammar time, you got 1 hour.
1 hour.
Give 9 rules of the use of capital letters. Name the parts of speech and define those that have no modifications.
I have no idea what they're talking about. The first part I understand. That's easy. Those 9 things I did before, they're easy. After that, I'm lost.
The parts of
Well,
speech.
you can do this one. I'm sure you can define a verse, a stanza, and a paragraph.
I can. A verse, a stanza.
Well, I can do a verse and a paragraph.
Paragraph has
A
4
par-
sentences, right?
What?
Paragraph has to have at least 4 sentences to be a paragraph, right?
I don't fucking know.
I don't think the number
That's a paragraph.
is the way it's used.
I don't know
A
what the rules
verse
are.
is one section, right? I mean, up to the first period, would that be
Is that a sentence?
a
Yeah,
verse?
Yeah. That would be a
Okay,
verse.
I see where you're going with it. I see where you're going.
And a stanza would be
George's uncle?
like the Star Spangled Banner.
What?
Yeah, that's a stanza.
I thought it was a song.
It is, but it's a stanza.
So,
Okay, so then verse. I know what a verse
rhyme
is.
thing.
I know what a
What's
verse
that?
is.
So, I mean, it's
I
or
don't know
okay.
what that means, but I
We've all
believe,
failed. Third
All right.
question.
I believe that it is a stanza. That's all I'm saying.
I believe
So up
you.
until that's the first one we dare even try to.
Yeah, we failed that one.
tackle.
Yeah.
I like the principal parts of a verb. Give principal parts of lie, play, and run.
Now, do they mean he lies?
I don't know.
Well, it's LIE. So
He lies. He laid. He laying. Is that what they mean?
so give
I don't
the
know.
principal parts.
What's the principal part of a verb? The beginning, the middle, and the end? I don't know what the
because they're
principal part
very
of a verb is.
short. They don't have a whole lot to squeeze in there.
Yeah, what are the principal parts of a verb? I don't know. Give the principal parts of lie,
Well, you got
play,
run
and
is an action one.
See, I bet you Google
Right.
doesn't even know.
I guess play would be action too.
Yeah.
Lying down isn't too much. Well, this is lie as in lie.
Well, telling a lie is a verb.
Yeah.
It's still an action. But that's all I can tell you about
Mhm.
verbs is they're supposed to be actions. I don't know what the 3 principal parts of one is. Maybe is that like
But then say
past,
3,
present.
it just says give principal parts.
What does that mean? Principles, like
I have no idea.
I don't know. But then
well, he felt
the next one is where my head. The next one is where my head really goes. Define case, illustrate each case. These are questions. So the answer to that is the definition of case,
Right.
which I think it's a tractor, and then illustrate each case. I could draw a tractor. That's all I know for case. I don't have a clue
How do you get a tractor out of case?
because it's a type. It's a brand of tractor.
Oh,
Yeah, but does that?
but
well,
I think
has
there's
nothing
only
to do
two,
with
right?
literature.
You know
Upper and
what?
lower.
he might be right.
But I don't.
He could be right, but back then everybody farmed.
But that's what I'm saying. When it's defined case, what the hell does that mean? And we're in the grammar section.
Yeah, see, I would go upper and lower, and I would
Upper,
I would
lowercase,
make I would
that's what
draw
would
one
see.
capital
Yes.
E and one
Yes,
lowercase
that's
e.
what they
That
would
How do you
would be
define
my-
it?
One's
bigger
big
than
and
the
one's
other.
little.
One's big and one's little. Define what the shit. Okay, yeah. So
Starts a sentence and
what is punctuation? Question mark. Give rules for principal marks of punctuation. There's rules for periods and exclamation
And,
points.
and sometimes you put
Question
too
marks.
many commas in.
exactly. Exactly.
And then as the last part of the grammar section of the test that you have an hour to complete, write a composition of about 150 words and show therein that you understand the practical use of the rules of grammar. Eat my shit.
So summarize all.
I could have
what
a
you
month
did.
to try to do that, and I could never.
Puzzle.
I couldn't do that.
Anytime you have to write a composition, whether it's in grade school, high school, or even college, if you just write a lot, they'll give you some points.
I remember the composition books. There were just notebooks, like comp books and
little
that.
blacks, the little
Yeah.
black with the speck of white.
I never
on it.
filled one of those out with anything but doodles.
When I went to college recently, right, I did a paper for my biology class, and I turned this thing in. I think I wrote it the night before, right? It was the last minute thing, and I write this thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna fail this paper. This is terrible. The teacher comes back to me, and she's like, "Can I hang on to this?" I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "I want to use it as an example for the rest of the classes." I'm like,
What not to write?
as of what not to do?
Right.
She goes, "No, this was great. Your paper was great. I want." And she gave me an A plus on it, and I was like,
Oh, well,
"Did you really read my paper?" It's like I don't know about that, but
I
Yeah,
copied it
it's-
from Jack.
It's all the eye of the beholder. It's all the eye of the beholder. She liked what you had to
I
say.
guess so.
Paragraph. If you have to write a composition, well, like I say, you just put down a lot of words. You're gonna get some score on it.
Is a composition a story, or is it an essay, or is it a reporting?
I would
thing?
say it's an essay.
Okay.
I'd say it's more of an essay.
Yeah.
I feel
I don't even
smarter already.
I don't think they even use the word composition anymore. I think
No, they
use
don't.
essay.
Oh,
I don't know what it means.
All right, everybody's favorite.
Yeah, all right.
Topic.
So this is where
Arithmetic's nice because it's a thing.
Why'd you point to me?
I'm staying-
take
I'm
it away.
Okay.
I'm staying away from this.
So you have 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete this. So number one, name and define the fundamental rules of arithmetic.
Add, divide, subtract, multiply.
Yeah. Please excuse my dumbass Sally.
That's the order of operations.
Yeah, no, same thing. That's the one thing I remember. I like that question though. Wagon box is 2 feet deep, 10 feet long, 3 feet wide. How many bushels of wheat will it hold? Well, I don't know. How big is a bushel of wheat?
That's the big question.
That's the only part I don't know.
It's a bushel.
So
But
is that an X?
But I bet you back then they knew what a bushel.
Yeah.
Do
was
you
and how big
think
it was.
Siri knows what a bushel is?
Maybe?
Do you know what a peck is?
A bushel and a pack.
Hey Siri,
Together.
how big is a bushel?
Says eat my shorts.
In the United States, a bushel is equal to 32 quarts or 8 gallons.
That's helpful.
Well, 8 gallons. That's good.
that give
A
you-
bushel of wheat is equal to how many gallons of wheat? That's horse crap. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Quarts and gallons are translated into bushels.
Hey Siri, what are the dimensions of a bushel?
Can they be tall? What's it say? Is it triangular in between your legs?
4 pecks or
What the
32
shit?
or 32 dry quarts.
Oh my god. Okay, so a dry quart,
Oh wait, here we go.
It has to be dry if it's
It's
wheat,
equal
so
to-
it's,
Somebody do the math.
a peck.
2,150.42 cubic inches.
What? 2,000. Okay, hold on a second.
So, well, what's the space we have in?
The
It says
wagon?
2 feet deep, 10 feet long, and
How
3
many-
feet
how many-
wide.
how
So,
many
what's the
places?
square? feet of
2,000.
that.
What'd you say?
Well, that's 200 square feet.
2 by 10 by 3.
No, it's 20 square feet. Oh, by 3.
It's 60.
What's the height? Sorry.
Oh,
you
It
got deep,
is
you got long,
deep
you got
is
wide.
2 feet deep,
Yeah.
60.
So that'd be
10
cubic,
feet long, and
that'd
3
be
feet
cubic
wide.
feet.
Yeah, 60 cubic feet.
Yeah.
But how many inches were we talking about there for whatever?
They didn't have calculators.
2,150.42 cubic inches.
You know that, Jack. They didn't have calculators.
I know, but I can't remember that number.
Divide that by 12.
179 square feet.
Okay.
So does anybody have an answer yet?
No, still don't, because now you're going square feet versus cubic feet.
Yeah.
This is where they get, I love you, a bushel and a peck.
Yeah, I know. I just realized that because I didn't realize a peck was a.
Well, 60 pounds is a bushel.
Well, who gives a shit how much it weighs? How big is it?
Okay.
Well, you get 60
So
pounds
I love
of feathers,
you when you're
60 pounds of
60
bricks.
pounds.
Funny thing about that though is that to have it again, they're like switching between measurements.
Yes, they are.
Because now we're going to weight. Because
Oh, wait. It
60
gets
pounds
better.
of feathers.
Oh, yeah.
It gets
60
better.
pounds of bricks.
Here's a good one.
Son of a bitch.
If a load of wheat weighs 3,942 pounds, what is its worth at 50
Cents a bushel.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, deducting
It's 50 cents a
1,050
bushel,
pounds.
deducting 1,050 pounds
For tear. Fuck you. I know what tear is.
Yeah.
This is proving that we're all stupid.
I know what tear is, but what I don't understand though is just so if a load of wheat that we don't know if we can carry the load of wheat in the wagon that we have because we don't know how big it is. We just know this. Okay, 3,000.
Hopefully it'll
Well,
hold a.
942
Well, it's not
pounds.
saying this.
ton.
You're putting in carrot. It's not saying about where you're
Yeah.
transporting it. It's saying what it's worth.
Was six.
Ah.
I know, but that's the thing. So if,
But if
50 cents a bushel, so how many bushels is there in 2,892?
Well, it was 60 pounds a bushel, right?
60 pounds a bushel. Okay, so 2,892 was we'd have to divide it by 60, and then you could times that by 50 cents. And I got a couple
and
of
then
bucks,
deduct
and I'm rich. bitch.
150.
I deducted
okay.
that to begin with.
He did that.
Okay.
He preemptively did that.
Yeah, I tear
So
myself
we
from the
took
get-go.
the tears away.
Tear it out. Bam.
I don't have enough fingers and toes for that answer. All right, so this one's easy.
Where's my
You
abacus?
guys can get this one. So district number 33 has a valuation of $35,000. What is a necessary levy to carry on a school months at $50 per month and have 104 for incidentals?
Okay. Yeah. So they have a budget of $35,000. What does it cost to have a school that costs $50 a month and have $104 for incidentals? So if they have $104 extra per month,
154.
154 per month, add the 35,000, and nobody knows. Find the cost of 6,720 pounds of coal at $6 a ton. That's $18.
Okay.
$18. Just over $18. That one's easy. Is it a metric ton? I'm just kidding.
Right.
Well, that's per ton, and then this is pounds. So you got so it's like
It'd be $20.
almost 3 tons, right?
It is 3 tons. It's over 3
Pounds.
tons. So you're 3 tons plus 720 pounds. So if you kind of extrapolate it to $2 for that third of a ton, or not even a third, but
And what's the budget?
half,
35.
$6 a ton.
We're on a different question.
Oh,
$6 a ton. You got
We
three.
gave up
I'm
on
still
that.
working on the other one.
No, we
Three-
gave up on that.
3
question.
full tons is $18. 720 is almost half of a ton. So it'd be almost $3. So it'd be 2 and change. So you're looking at $20 and change.
Bucks. Yeah.
Stop showing off, Jack, will you?
All right.
Okay.
Finding interest of $512.60 for 8 months and 18 days at 7%.
I'm not interested. I have 0 interest for 8 months and 18 days.
Yeah, an hour and 15 minutes to do this.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And this is important for the last
Do you get to use
essay
abacus?
question on there, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
think
It's
it
very
is.
important to know this.
What is the cost of 40 boards, 12 inches wide and 16 feet long at $20 per meter?
Oh, meter? This is America.
Yeah, America. That's where they get you. Damn Kansas people.
No, that's not fair. 40 boards, 12 inches wide, 6 feet long. 12 inches wide, 6 feet long. 40 boards per meter. Linear foot, linear meter.
Well, is 16 about 3 meters?
16 feet. Yeah,
In
you'd
a
be
foot,
looking.
right?
Hmm?
Isn't there 3 meters in a foot, isn't there?
No, there's 3 meters in a yard.
Oh, in a yard. That's what I'm thinking.
So you're looking at
Yeah.
3 foot. How many yards in 16? You'd be looking at five.
So a meter is
Just
a
over
foot.
5.
I thought a meter was about 4 feet.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Yardstick. and a
Yard
meter.
is
Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah, 3 feet is a yard. Meters, they're roughly the same.
that's
So you're
closer
saying
to
that-
4 feet. A meter is.
Yeah.
Maybe. I always thought that a yardstick was the same as a meter. I could be completely wrong about that.
1 foot equals 0.305 meters.
So yeah, 3.
So that's 1 foot. So you times, well, that only gives you the. So what is 1 meter?
That's
What is 1 meter in inches?
1 meter in inches?
Yeah.
36. 36 plus 18. 36 plus 18. So yeah, it'd be over 4 feet.
It would be 4 feet. Yeah. You're
Be
right.
like
Yeah.
4 foot 1 or 2 inches.
So that's just a cruel question.
So 16 feet is
That would be-
4.8768 meters. Because they said it was 16 feet. Right?
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
how many meters?
Is 4.8768.
Okay.
So you times that by 40, right? You divide that by 20, and that would give you your
Yeah.
cost per
But
meter.
they're all still 12 inches
Yeah,
wide.
because that doesn't matter.
And you guys are using calculators.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
exactly.
no.
I wonder how many of these
I left
kids
my abacus at home.
graduated. How many of these kids graduated?
I left my abacus at home.
Do you know?
All right, next one.
Find bank discount on 300 for 90 days. No grace at 10%. Find bank discount on 300 for 90 days. Is that a loan?
Find bank discount.
Find bank discount on $300 for 90
That had
days.
to mean something back then.
No grace
Yeah.
at 10%. Yeah. So you're not allowed to say a prayer. No grace.
I don't think they mean that.
Find bank discounts on $300 for 90 days. So you're getting money from a loan shark. No praying, and it's 10%. I don't have any idea what that
So you'd have to
means.
know what the normal month
Grace
is.
doesn't mean that.
This is where nomenclature
Grace
matters.
means
wonder.
there's no period of time above the
Right.
time.
But what is
I
find
heard
bank
s-
discount on
Well, I heard
$300?
something this morning. Kind of, I'm watching the news that there is actually a bank, and I think that's what they call it. There's a bank discount where there is no interest, and that is something if you earn
Interest free.
so much. Yeah, it's an interest-free loan that banks are really allowed to give, but they don't advertise it. And
On $300 for 90 days. No
so I
grace
wonder if
at
that's
10%.
what the bank discount is
What the hell is 10%?
interest-free loan.
So
That
a
would
bank
be-
discount is interest that is deducted from the face value of a loan when it's made. It's also known as a discount rate.
So the bank discount
So they
on
automatically
$300 for 90 days at 10%. So 90 days, you have a 10% discount on $300 for 90 days. So depending on when and where they can't, no grace. So you would
Okay.
have 90 days of 10% discount on that loan. So you'd be deduct that from the totality of the loan. Yes,
So it's just a one-time interest.
I
That's
guess.
on the face value. So
So 10% is $30.
What's an
yeah,
aneurysm
so
feel like?
$330.
I'm getting a migraine.
Oh, wait.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
what
it's
does an
hurting.
aneurysm
It's
feel
hurting.
like?
It's ridiculous.
It'd be 270, wouldn't it? Because you're taking that off.
Fucking, I don't know.
That 10% discount. It'd be $30 off.
We think
Okay.
we don't know.
Okay.
All right, next question.
What's the cost of a square farm?
When
What's
are we
this
getting
farm?
off of the arithmetic?
What is the cost of a square farm at $15 per acre? The distance of which is 640 rods.
What is a rod?
I had that paper
I don't have
and
an answer.
I didn't bring it.
Oh, is the answer on there?
Huh?
$600.
It tells you what a rod is.
Rod-
Oh, okay.
rod-
Yeah.
A rod to an acre conversion.
Well, they had the paper. Does it say
Converting
it on
acres
there?
Not that
and
paper.
rods.
No, it's one that I used for work.
Oh, okay, okay.
Doing legal descriptions.
Rods and
stuff on
acres
it.
converters. There are 160 square rods in 1 acre. So if you knew that, it wouldn't be hard to do.
Yeah.
Square farm, $15 an acre with 165.
Now, this is probably the most important one.
Write a bank check.
Write a bank check, a promissory note, and a receipt.
Fucking jeez.
So that's where you would need to know the interest
Well,
and all that stuff
promissory
that you're
note
writing.
and a
down.
receipt is easy.
I
Yeah,
owe you,
yeah.
and you gave me.
You gave me.
So I owe you, and you
But
gave me.
a bank check should be fairly easy, right? I mean,
I didn't even know they had them back then.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Back then, they Yeah.
But on their promissory note, are they adding interest
Well, I don't know. On the bank check, are they adding the fee they're going to charge you?
up front?
They didn't have fees back then, probably.
Yeah, whenever they started that criminal activity, I wasn't there for that meeting. Did I tell you guys about my meeting with the branch manager?
Yeah.
Sons of bitches. Anyway,
You lost your temper.
All right, Dad. Here's
No,
yours.
I did not
This
lose
is
my
this
temper.
is all you.
No,
It's
not
only
all
45 minutes.
No, it's not all me.
You want to take this
history?
one?
Give the epochs. Is that how you'd say it?
Or epics, I guess.
Epochs.
Yeah, into which U.S. history is divided.
That's periods of time, right?
Yeah. They want periods of time
Epoch.
that U.S. history is divided.
It's
Yeah.
U.S.
US
history.
history, yeah.
So how's it? I mean, this is up to 19 or 1890.
I know that's tricky. American
so-
Revolution,
Industrial.
War of 1812, the Civil War, the Spanish American War, and that's where I got to stop.
Cool.
What
gonna say
about
he's
the
right.
pilgrims and the?
That was before that stuff.
That wasn't
You
US
said,
history.
Yeah.
oh, I thought you wanted from the time that.
No, I don't
They
know.
were born.
That's
What says
that's U.S. history. So
Oh,
I think
okay,
he's
well, that's
right.
different.
I think he's right.
probably. I don't know.
I'm not going to dispute it.
I
I
won't
didn't know you
dispute
wanted
it.
to go back that far. I thought from when they were, in school.
Up till Well, I mean, it's U.S. history up to.
Well, U.S.
1890.
history. The Pilgrims wasn't U.S. history.
True.
So we're going to start with 1776 as being the U.S.
Right.
That was an epoch.
That would be the first epoch.
First epoch.
1776, then 1812, then 1861 to 64.
That's when this generation
And-
began.
right. And then the Mexican War, which was 1890, I think.
And I believe you.
Don't believe me. I'm still working on that one math problem.
So then, what's the next one there?
Give an account of the discovery of America by Columbus.
Hey, I see that freaking island there. Let's go get it.
That's a question on an 8th grade final exam.
Right.
Give an account of the discovery of America. by
3
Columbus.
ships left
Who,
Spain.
who's the
And
is
then
that
What were those
Pinta
3
is-
ships?
Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. And they traveled across the sea and thought they were going to,
trade spices with the Indians?
yes, and they wound up in the U.S., in America.
Trading spices with the
And
Indians.
they landed there. I think, which one of them stayed? I don't remember which one stayed.
Got
I
the
think it was
hell?
Santa Maria that stayed, and the other 2 went back, or one of them sunk. I don't remember that. But that's how they got there. And then they got there because Queen Isabella of Spain financed the whole operation, and it pissed off her husband. She goes, what's going on with you in Columbus? Because you're giving all this money to him, but
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Shagging.
Lisa just reminded me, though, her dad was a history teacher. So it'd been interesting to hear his take on this.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
this was from his papers. So I'm, I wish you would have made notes on it.
It would have
That'd be
helped.
Cool, yeah.
It would have helped.
Relate the causes and results of the Revolutionary War. We all know that.
Yeah. Taxation without
Representation.
representation. Independence from the mother country, where they could make their own decisions in America. I don't think slavery really came into it at that
Hey,
time.
now there's disinformation. Hold on. Careful what you're saying. I don't know. Yeah.
I definitely, taxation without representation was the main thing.
Yeah.
And also independence from the motherland.
I think
the
it's,
results.
it's interesting to me that to looking at that stuff and thinking about it, like that's what they teach us, but we don't know. We just don't know.
And
No focus.
show the territorial growth of the United States.
13
This many.
colonies started it.
Yeah.
Then they went down south. Then they had the Louisiana Purchase. Then they moved on west.
Western expansion.
Western expansion, which they called the
Holy crap, it sucks.
yeah, that too. What the hell do they call that? Manifested
Manifest
Destiny.
Destiny. Yeah.
Manifest
There was a book
Destiny,
about
that's right.
that.
And then they
called
went
Grapes of
all the
Wrath.
way out to the West Coast.
So how many states were there in
State of
1895?
state of
Wow.
shock, state of poverty.
I mean, Arizona wasn't a state yet.
Oh,
no.
no.
That was the 48th state.
breastfeeding my baby.
That was the last state
So
before
they're-
Alaska and Hawaii. Hawaii.
So was
That's
there
a good
probably
question.
47 states at that point then?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's interesting. The question says show the
Should I
territorial
Google
growth. It says
Let's
show
see.
the territorial growth. Does that mean they had to draw a diagram?
I guess so.
Or, I mean, you wouldn't show it in literary
Probably
form.
would've showed it
Maybe they
diagram.
had a map that they got to draw stuff on.
Could've-
I don't know.
Stop nitpicking.
Yeah, not nitpicking. I just think it's interesting. Like if it's a question on an exam, they say show the territorial growth.
Well, they would
Like
have
where?
to show it on a map.
Right.
40
So do you have to
42
draw the map?
states.
Well, and this is really interesting, huh? Number 5.
Tell what you can of the history of Kansas.
Oh, this says there. Or was that your typo? Oh, that's right. Because
We copied it
You-
from that PDF. We copied directly from that PDF.
yeah, that's right.
Show. What was the question?
Well, it says
Tell
the
what you
history
can.
of Arizona
That's funny.
To tell what you can of the history of Kansas.
because
That's funny.
Arizona wasn't even a state.
It wasn't even a state. But that
So it was probably supposed to be Kansas, I'm sure.
that PDF said Arizona. That's funny. Because I questioned that too. Remember I said that?
Yeah, what?
I was like, what? So there were 42 states in 1890.
That sounds about right.
Utah became the 45th state in 1896.
Oh, so it was after that even.
Look at this.
Wow.
Why did they get into Star Wars all of a sudden? Describe the 3 most prominent battles of the rebellion. There was Hoth,
The Clone Wars.
the Clone Wars, Dagobah. I don't know. What rebellion? What is that? What are they talking about?
The Revolutionary War.
Okay, thank you.
I would think they're talking about Bunker Hill.
Shit, need 100% more than I got.
Probably.
Little Bighorn?
Oh, that's a different battle.
My bad.
I can't think of the name of the battle, but it was waged in the Carolinas. And I can't think of the name of the battle.
Charlestown, was it?
Yeah,
Was it
around
Charlestown?
Is this
That's when the British general surrendered.
Is that all quiet on the Western Front area? Or am I
That's
thinking the wrong?
That's First World War.
Okay. Right on.
I can't. I have to think about it for a while. I know Bunker Hill has to be one of them. That was when the first shots were fired for the Revolutionary War.
Holy crap. So the next one here. Who were the following? Morse, Whitney, Fulton, Bell, Lincoln, Penn, and Howe.
I can tell you most of them, but I can't tell you what order. I mean,
That's
I'd
okay.
have
Well, who's Morse?
Morse
was
Morse
it?
code.
Yeah, Morse code, right?
Whitney?
Wireless
Whitney
telegraph.
was the cotton gin.
Is that Eli
Right.
Whitney? And then we got Fulton.
Fulton steamboat,
Okay.
And so we got Alexander Graham Bell,
telephone.
Abraham Lincoln,
Lincoln.
Well, we know who he was.
Penn and Teller. No, who's Penn?
William Penn was
William
the
Penn.
signer of the Declaration of Independence.
He wasn't the only guy, was he?
No.
No.
I don't know why I get so much credit. All right. And Howe. And Howe.
I think Howe was. I believe he was an American general in this Revolutionary War.
I like that they put him last. And
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
That's good.
But there was a Howe in the American Revolution.
Oh,
All right. So events connected with the following dates.
here you go, Dan.
1607. What happened?
1607. Pilgrims landed. I don't know.
I don't know. 1620.
I mean,
1800. This is in the 1800s.
1800. What happened?
Yeah. What's important? I don't know.
Well,
1849.
War of 1812, but that
They
was,
completely
you
skipped
know,
the flu.
Right.
But 1849 and
I think
1865.
That's the end of the Civil War.
Oh, 1865 was the end of the Civil War? All right. Well, so 49 was the beginning?
Ah,
Well, how long was the Civil War?
61.
oh, Christine.
61 was the.
You know it all.
I
Or
can't,
you
I can't pull
fast? I'll do it.
She said Google was the answer?
She's a fast Googler.
Oh,
61.
Jamestown
65.
settlement, arrival of the Pilgrims. Jamestown was settled before the Pilgrims,
I said the Pilgrims.
but it says the Jamestown settlement was established before the arrival of the Pilgrims.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Is that where they drank the Kool-Aid? 1800s. Thomas Jefferson became president. 1849 California Gold Rush, and 65 was the
Oh,
Civil
yeah.
War.
29.
Ends according to the people
Good job, Christine.
who write stuff down. That's crazy.
Yep.
Good job.
She admitted it.
Oh, I was thinking of Jonestown, not Jamestown. My bad.
Jamestown was. Where
Yeah, that was more recent.
they were one of the first settlements in
Is
the
it not
country.
moving?
How did they get
Yeah.
there?
By ship.
I'll go the
Okay.
next one then. All right, here we go.
I don't even know what that word means.
Okay. Well, you have an
Orthog-
hour to figure out that word.
Orthography? Orthography?
It's orthography. Yeah.
Orthography. But
What is it?
I think that means speech, doesn't it? Or
Like
Orator,
or an orator.
maybe?
Yeah. So somebody
Yeah.
speaks. So public speaking.
What's the question?
Probably, yeah.
Well, the category is
Yeah.
orthography.
Okay.
And so what is meant by the following? Alphabet, phonetic, orthography, etymology, syllabication. I don't know.
Well,
How to confuse your friends.
So orthography is the conventional spelling system of a language,
Oh,
a spoken language which has yet no sanctioned orthography.
phonetics is
phonetics is how you
Phonetic.
speak. Syllabication, I don't know. Etymology. I thought it was bugs, but
But have
all
to
right.
do with syllables.
I guess it all
Finding
has
out
to, it
things
probably
are
all has
broken
to do
into
with speech
syllables.
and how do you read? Learning how to read, figuring out how to read, right? What are elementary sounds? How classified?
What was the etymology?
Yeah, so this is all about reading.
Etymology?
Yeah.
This is learning how to
Etymology.
read. That's what orthography means, reading. It has to. Yeah, that's what this means.
Etymology is the study of the history of words, including their origins, meanings, and sound structures.
But orthography is reading, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Not only knowing a word, knowing its history.
I don't need to know what its history is. What am I, a method actor? All right. What are elementary sounds unclassified? What are the following? What are the following? And give examples of each. Trigraph.
Yeah.
Subvocals. Diphthong. Oh, I know what that is.
I know what diphthong is too.
Cognate letters and linguals.
Because you've had voice lessons. Right?
Yes. and acting as well.
Yeah.
So diphthongs. Georgia
Linguals would
diphthong.
be
What is the difference between an
Lingual would be
diphthong
different
and a
languages, right?
Georgia thing? What is linguist? Yeah, linguals.
different languages. I think.
Linguistics. Diphthongs is basically like accents. Give 4 substitutes for carrot you for carrot. What is carrot you? Carrot you. Is that a
Who?
different way? Give
Oh.
substitutes for carrot you, which is different than an fu.
Carrot's a symbol, right? Isn't that what they
I guess.
say that in language?
I guess a carrot. I don't know.
Carré.
Carrot.
I'm saying carrot sounds
Motley
better.
Crue.
I just know this one I've already failed before even.
Yeah, give 2 rules for spelling words with final apostrophe e apostrophe or whatever that thing is. Name 2 exceptions under each rule. Yeah, I can't do any of that. Yeah, this would be tough just reading the questions.
Give 2 uses of silent letters in spelling. Illustrate each. Well, those are a lot of them. I mean,
But come
There's
up with
one.
Come up with one now.
yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Well, what I love about the silent letters is it's a rule that just has no real.
It's just a rule.
I spell my name with a Q. Why? Because I can.
Yeah.
It's silent. Suck it. Ridiculous.
Define the following prefixes and use in connection with a word.
Not gonna even do that. Let's keep moving. Good. Sam, Keith. I dare you.
By,
Watch how quick we get kicked off.
dis, miss, pre, semi, post, non, inter, mono, and sup.
Now, in a modern context, that
Yeah,
would
I
be
know,
a difficult
I
thing
know.
to answer.
Yes.
But it's interesting because what do those things actually mean? I don't know what all of them mean.
Semi, you know what that means.
I know what semi means, but dis and miss, I'm not sure, still not sure what the difference is on the 2.
Well, we know
Post-
what disinformation,
Yeah, we know what dismiss
misinformation
is.
This is to ignore. This is to miss. I know. I can't explain the miss.
I don't either. But
Well,
Mark,
we know what pre is
Pre comes before, right?
and semi.
Mark
Post comes after. Non means non.
not.
Not right.
yeah, not.
Inter
Inter is
means
between.
yeah.
And mono
Monos,
is singular.
yeah, singular.
Turned out I was just really bored.
Sup is, I don't know what sup would be.
Sup?
What's up?
What's up, bud? Sup, dog?
Sup would be like supplet. It would mean
Okay.
something.
Superlative?
It's a substitute for something else.
Maybe, yeah. That makes
Sub-
sense.
Substitute, subspecial. I don't know. Mark diacritically. That looks harder than it is. Mark diacritically and divide into syllables the following and name the sign that indicates the sound. Card, comma, ball, comma, mercy, comma, sir, comma, odd, comma, sell, comma, rise, blood, fair, last. Diacritically and divide into syllables. Card, right? Ball, Mercy? Sir? What the hell? How do you diacritically divide sir into syllables? Is it multisyllabic? Odd. Cell.
Sire.
Rise. A lot of those don't seem like that they've got more than one syllable in them, unless I don't know what syllables are.
That's my understanding of a syllable.
Don't you hate when you misaccenture syllables?
Aren't they all singulars? Well, no,
most-
mercy would be two.
I think you'd get away with card and mercy, but maybe if that's diacritically, card feels like
asked.
blast.
Asked.
Where's blast?
That's interesting.
Blast
Yeah,
one,
that's an interesting question.
Use the following correctly in sentences. Cite, feign, raise.
Wow, that's easy.
Most of those I could.
Yeah, most of those I could as well. But now, if they ask you to spell them,
That's a good point.
if you could spell them by definition,
The,
right?
the raise might be kind of difficult. At least
I don't know about the
the
first site.
raise.
I don't. What's the what?
Like a citation,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or you're citing a
statistic.
narrative or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
You're citing a paper. That's cite.
Feign. What you want? So feign, F-A-N-E. I don't know what that is. Do I? What's feign?
F-A-N-E.
Yeah.
Feign, F-A-I-N.
And F-E-I-G-N.
F-E-I-G-N.
I don't know. I've ever used that word.
I don't think I've ever used
Whenever
it
it-
either.
Feign, like to fake.
Yes, feign is the fake.
That's the only one that I know.
That's F-E-I-G-N, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but I don't know what the other feigns are.
I know what the other one is, F-A-I-N, but I can't think of it.
I don't think I
I've
know.
heard
what
of
those
that.
I know the
And
two veins. I
there you
know somebody's vein, right?
Weather vein.
Yeah, weather vein.
are. Weather
You
vein,
have the vein in
Vein
your
in-
arms.
Yeah, that's
circulatory
And if
vein,
you're-
and then vein
yeah.
like you're an egotistical prick. Or vein.
Well, we get a couple of points
Raise,
anyway.
Hey, there you go. Raise. Those are easy. Well, maybe raise up. What's R-A-Z-E?
Fane, F-A-N-E, is a temple or shrine. Interesting.
That's horsepucky.
Right? 10 words frequently mispronounced
Feign.
and indicate pronunciation by use of diacritical marks and by syllabication.
Oh, and okay. we can
And
go
I'm
past
out,
that.
baby. Yeah, no, but that's what phonetic, like the phonetic spelling in a dictionary is the that's what the dialectical marks are.
Okay.
Is the little
I
things and the
still-
schwas and the poop
Yeah,
pops and the ding dongs and all this
Yeah.
crap. It's like you have to know all this extra shit to be able to pronounce words when they spell it out the right way in the
Well-
dictionary, because you can't just figure it out on your own.
Yep.
Because all of our rules, if you don't know those rules and all those marks, you'll never know what the words mean. Because it's, the whole height, bear, so that word's hair. No, that's air. How's it air? It's spelled hair. No, it's not, because air is spelled hair is spelled air, bear is spelled bear, and they're all pronounced differently.
All right. Geography.
No.
1 hour.
15. What is climate? Upon what does climate depend? How is that geography?
Geography.
That's what I said. Don't misaccent my
Well, I
syllables.
think climates are different in different geographical
Oh.
areas.
Geographical.
There you
There you
go.
go. Geographical. I said.
Climate
See,
depend
I'm
on,
really
does
smart.
climate depend on topography or geography?
Depends on latitude, longitude, all that stuff.
But topography affects it as well.
It does.
How do you account for
If
the
you're north to
extremes of
south
the climate?
equator,
How do you
that has
account
a
for,
lot to do with it.
See, this put Arizona in too for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, it's supposed to have been
Where?
Kansas. Oh,
but that's
crazy.
the thing. How do you
Yeah.
account for the extremes of climate in Kansas? How do you account for that? Is it your
You ever
fault?
been to Kansas?
What did you do?
Have you ever been to Kansas?
What did you
I
do,
don't,
Keith?
did they know about the jet stream back then? Was
I
that
don't know. They kind of did because their
not
house
really? Because we've only been monitoring weather for like 100 years.
Well, Dorothy's house went away. That's
That was
kind
in
of
the
extreme.
30s, though.
Still,
Yeah.
I think it probably happened before that movie was made. Don't you? Tornadoes and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So-
Easily. Yeah.
In Kansas, I imagine they were probably
No,
pretty
they
aware.
were
of it.
having, they had tornadoes back then.
Yeah.
trust
Yeah.
me.
But I mean,
Oh, gee.
definitely the jet stream had something to do with
But did they know what the
extreme
was?
climates. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't think they
The
did.
equator,
Because if you live
North-
here, you're gonna get screwed.
Yeah.
north to south of the equator has a big thing to do with it.
It
too.
does.
But when was it common knowledge what the equator was or where it was?
I have no idea, Jack.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Certainly by this test time they were doing this test, they did. Of what use are rivers? None, unless you live by one.
Good for swimming.
Unless if you don't live by one, they're not good for shit.
Fishing.
You know the dream is
Yes.
like a river.
You can fish in a river.
Unless you don't
Food.
live by
In
one.
the
Fresh water. back
Yeah.
then.
Rafting.
Or,
They liked to raft back then. Rafting.
Well, what use is an ocean?
well, I think they probably used
Say-
rivers
Go
for
rafting in the ocean.
No man is an island.
irrigation. You
Oh,
if
that's
they-
true. Rivers would be used for irrigation. That's a good
They
point.
cut their canals off of the rivers.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You could also use an ocean for irrigation.
Go, Joey.
Oh, I'm not sure.
That means
Let's
you
get a
were-
fucking high
you were a
five.
farmer.
I can't reach you.
I was a farmer in
You were
another
a farmer
life.
back then.
Describe the mountains of North America. They're big. and
They're high. They
They're
were
diverse.
rocky.
Yonder. She named and described the following: Monrovia, Odessa, Denver, Manitoba. One of those is a real place. Two of them are imaginary, and the third one is a book.
Sound
Okay,
Helena.
Yukon, St. Helena.
They're all
Juan
volcanoes.
Fernandez, Aspinwall, and
They're all
Orinoco.
volcanoes.
That's what they are.
Oh,
know.
well, yeah. Hecla, Yukon, St. Helena.
So you probably had to
Juan
say that
Fernandez.
where they were located too.
Juan
probably.
Fernandez was a coffee guy, right?
That's what I keep saying. They'd say, no, it's not him.
It's not him.
No.
Brought
Yeah,
to-
Yukon's a volcano.
Fresh picked beans from the mountains of Colombia. Orale, vato.
You told
Get out
me.
of my kitchen, you son of a
Keith,
bitch.
yeah, Keith said that's not Juan Fernandez.
Whose donkey is this?
Hmm.
That's Juan Valdez.
Juan Valdez.
Whatever, it's a Juan.
Helka. Was Helka?
Juan is the
volcano?
loneliest
Oh, we know
donkey.
St. Helen was.
Yep.
Well, that's Helena.
Yeah, St. Helena.
But I think that's what it was called back then.
St. Helena.
Helena is in Montana.
It's a different mountain.
So is it spelled the same way?
Hector?
This is spelled Hekla. Hecla is a volcano.
What the heckla?
Well, this also says Arizona on it. So,
Oh, it's spelled the same way. Hecla.
oh, okay.
So they're all volcanoes
We're on the wrong slide.
Where are they located?
all over the place.
Yeah. So you probably had to know that
Aspinwall.
because you had to describe them. So
We're talking about
describing
kids
everything-
living in Kansas. How the hell do they know where the hell the volcanoes are all over the globe?
Like, mom,
It must have been important back then.
Where's my dog?
Maybe they blamed the activity of the volcanoes on the climate and the weather.
I guess. I don't
So
know.
you had to know where they're at. So you know if it was a Yukon wind that was causing your problems.
Yukon Jack?
Yukon Cornelia.
Yukon Cornelius?
Juan Fernandez.
You're on the wrong
I,
slide.
I could be wrong. I think they were all volcanoes.
Who can
from
advance
what
the
I've looked up.
slides?
We'll go for that.
We're on the right side.
Okay, I knew that.
Name and locate the principal trade centers of the U.S. Name all the republics of Europe and give the capital of each.
No.
New Orleans, San Francisco, New York, maybe Southern LA. I'm not sure about that one. And probably
Not back then. It wouldn't be. Not in the 1800s
why not?
because they weren't discovered yet.
It's 1890. California was discovered by 1890.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah, 49ers, they had the gold rush.
What is California state number?
That I don't know.
0.
It's
Mm.
probably. It's
I mean, New Orleans, like definitely, but
Oh, New Orleans was definitely a trade.
that's
route.
true because the California Gold Rush was earlier. than
49.
that. Yeah, yeah. All right, so you might be right.
But now we need to know the republics of Europe and their capitals.
No, we don't. Don't worry. It's all,
Republics of
gonna,
Europe?
it's all gonna be ruined.
Yeah.
In 1890. How about Berlin for Germany? But it wasn't Germany back then. I think it was called Prussia.
Wasn't it the what do they call it? I don't know. Who cares?
Prussia, I think, was Germany back then.
Gay.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Prussia's a real place.
Yep.
My Prussia.
France, Paris,
Ooh.
Madrid for Spain.
Madrid.
London, England.
Yeah, London would be in England. Scotland would be. I should know that I'm Scotch. I can't think of it.
There's probably a name of a
Dublin would be
Scotch
Ireland.
too.
So, Scotch, where's the butterscotch from?
Right. It's from
Jameson, that's what it was.
It's butterscotch.
Well, that'd be Ireland, wouldn't it?
whatever. Ireland would be Dublin, I guess. Not even sure if Dublin is the capital of Ireland.
I like this one. Why is the Atlantic coast colder than the Pacific in the same latitude?
Because it wants to be.
Why is it colder?
Than the Pacific in the same latitude. So the Atlantic coast is where?
More
over
moisture,
here.
more cold moisture.
The Pacific is in
It's-
this. It is over here, and they're in the same latitude.
Is it because the ocean floor is deeper on the East Coast than it is on the West Coast?
That's
Could be.
That's a good.
I don't know where those two things are.
Because it drops off a lot quicker on the.
Well, I was going to
on
say
the
the
East
water
Coast.
in the Atlantic is colder than the water in the Pacific, so it kind of plays into what you're saying.
But it's not though, really.
Yes, it is.
Not down south. It's not.
Well, in the same latitude. What's
Well,
the latitude?
The Atlantic is a lot warmer
Latitudes
than
and
the
sideways,
Pacific.
right?
Like if
Yeah.
you go down to the LA area and Northern California, the Pacific's much colder than the Atlantic.
Oh yeah, if you go up to the Pacific, San Francisco area,
Yeah.
but LA is never colder than anything.
Which one's the
on here.
Atlantic?
Oh, I think it is.
Which one's the Atlantic?
Because you get
New
East
York,
Coast,
Which-
Florida.
Yeah.
The East Coast is Atlantic.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, so,
So
then
Florida water temperatures would be 80 degrees. You never get 80 degrees in California. You'll never get temperatures that warm
not even down on the same latitude.
No.
How do you know?
because I know.
Well, you know.
Maybe the winds off the
Do you?
mountains. I don't know.
So you would do great
Well,
in
what
this
the hell's
question
the answer?
because
then?
it says, well, we don't know that it's right because he's saying it's not a thing. So it says, why is the Atlantic coast colder than the Pacific in the same latitude? And the answer is, it's not, bitch.
But I think Joey might be right. The depth of the ocean. I think that might.
If there was an
contribute
answer,
to
but it also might be the question. The answer might be, it's not.
it could be.
It says, why is it colder in the why
the
is the
same
Atlantic
I
latitude.
don't
coast
think
colder
they gave you easy
than the
outs.
Pacific in the well, it would be a trick question. You'd have to know what you're talking
I don't
about.
think they do
Could be.
trick questions.
They
Why is
should
the
tell you
Atlantic
which
coast colder than
latitude
the
they're
Pacific?
talking
It just
about.
says
Right,
in
that
the
would-
same
that would help.
in the same
Yeah.
latitude. So depending on where the latitude lines up on the Pacific and the Atlantic, whatever less shared
Mhm.
latitude they have, do they share all of the latitudes?
Well, it's only
Well, there was
latitude
there-
goes
Well,
across.
I understand
so-
that. So where
Yeah.
where does the Pacific and the Atlantic end and meet on those latitude lines? Are they do they cover the same amount of latitude coordinates or whatever? I don't fucking know. My point is, there's a lot of open-ended shit. You need a lot more information to answer that question, and the answer still could be it's not, because it says why is it Atlantic coast colder than the Pacific in the same latitude? And I think a good question to ask would be a bullshit question where the answer is it's not colder. Because if you're a moron, you'd be like, because you think you would.
I would say up north by Maine, it probably is though.
I don't
probably
know.
is
Why? Because the
colder
lobster.
up
That's
there.
because the lobsters
Could be.
and the Patriots. Yeah.
Now I want to know. I want to know the answer. To
Well,
that.
then look it up. Ask Siri.
I will.
Well, I think
will.
they needed to specify which latitude.
That would help too.
you know.
would help.
So we
Well,
know
that's
where-
why it's saying it's in the same latitude. So it seems it's sort of a universal thing. And you
Yeah.
would also have to know what latitudes they share because maybe they don't share latitudes all the way across. Maybe there's a point where the Atlantic continues on in latitudes that it's a different body of water on the same corresponding latitudes going to the
But
left or
they
right.
say the same latitude.
I know, but it's not telling you which one.
I would say it's up north because south, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't work for the south. I would say if you go up north, that latitude, whatever that latitude is,
So then
I
that would be in
say-
the
It'd
same.
all be cold.
That would be in the northern latitudes. You can't just say in the same latitude because in the latitude down by the equator in a temperate zone, it's going to be different than the latitudes up in the north part by the Maine and the lobster boys.
I think they're saying if you drew a line from the Pacific to the Atlantic
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that same latitude,
Yeah.
the Atlantic would be colder than the Pacific.
And as you move it down
That's it.
further,
It changes.
right? So they're not being specific. It just says in the same
Right,
latitude.
right.
So the answer would differ depending on which latitude you're talking about. So why is it
Yeah.
Atlantic coast colder than the Pacific in the same latitude? Well, it's not in all the same latitudes. The point is we're all too stupid to answer this question. Holy shit.
That's a great assumption.
Describe the process by which the water of the ocean returns to the sources of the river.
Joey nailed it.
Elven magic.
Oh,
What was it?
it's evaporation and then the rain coming back to.
Look at you. He's a nod.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, fuck
I'm
yeah,
telling you, he was
boss.
a farmer. He was a farmer.
Well, he said what it was earlier, and I looked it up. And
So
I'm
he-
like, dude, you freaking nailed it. Right on.
Speaking
Except
of
I
farmers,
like the answer that you looked up better. It was a
Well, it was
little more.
a little more explanation.
yeah.
speaking of farmers, is that the name of the dog or the farmer? Bingo.
Bingo's the dog.
Are you sure? There was a farmer that had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Who? The farmer?
Well,
It never clarifies.
I'm pretty sure the
We all
farmer's the
assume.
one that sings and the dog
No.
doesn't.
You're singing a song about a farmer. There was a farmer
Well,
that had
we
a dog.
Jack, what we don't need is more confusion. While we're trying to figure out this thing.
This is a question that means nothing.
It should have been on the test.
It should have
damn
been on the test.
Bingo was the farmer.
I just started a fight. Fuck it. Okay, keep going. Describe the movements of the earth. Give the inclination of the earth. This many. How many?
I have no inclination.
How many degrees does the Earth tip. Also notice the exam took 6 hours to complete. Horse pucky. You had 6 hours.
We did
to
it in
complete
less than an hour.
Well, that has to do with the axis.
Yeah, it's the angle at
sun.
which it
Yeah,
tilts.
it's
That's the
360.
inclination. I don't have a clue what
And,
the
and
angle
then
is.
it has a warble to it too.
Yeah, so it's going to flip over one of those days or whatever.
I like that name, Warble.
Warble.
Warble, baby,
Warble.
warble, baby,
Pretty
warble,
ominous.
baby, warble.
Warble bingo miner.
6 hours.
So how did you do?
How many months would it take you to finish that?
Are you smarter than an 8th grader from 1895?
Hell no.
Hell no.
No, and now smarter is the wrong word. Are you as educated or informed?
Our last one got cut off.
No.
It did. But you had to have at least 90% in order to move on.
Isn't that some shit?
To the 9th
That's
grade.
crazy. That's just
There,
crazy.
there were a lot of 8th graders for a very long time. So,
Yeah, so I mean, if 100 is passing and 90 is fell,
yeah.
Well,
I
go
mean-
back to the stats that we had on what the pass rate and how many people finished the 8th grade back in the day. It wasn't all of them.
no.
Now we always just assumed it was because they were mistreated and there was a cultural thing, but maybe they were just too stupid because this is a hard ass test.
But you think about when we went to school, right?
Think about it.
I don't think we had questions that hard. I mean, we had some difficult
No,
stuff.
because you were living in a different era and a different, time where you understood most of what the question. What Jack is saying is all of this stuff is pertinent to 1890.
Right.
Yeah,
But we have no clue.
we had no or need for it.
And
Because
no need for
do
it.
I need to know about latitude, longitude, and that kind of stuff? Yeah, I can look it up. At this point, none of it's even necessary because you can look all of it up. This was my argument for my teachers with algebra. So I'm like, no one's going to hire me to be a freaking nuclear physicist or a rocket scientist and
Right,
not
you
let
just
me
don't.
use reference information. They're not going to be like, you don't remember? Well, shit. You know what I mean? And like if I'm going to be in a high pressure job where I need higher math, they're going to let me use a calculator. They're going to let me look at a formula book. You know what I mean? They're going to let me cheat, so to speak.
Yeah.
So the idea that you got to memorize all this crap.
Did any teachers
Something-
like you?
What?
Did any teacher like you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of
I
shit.
find
like
that- I
you.
find that hard to believe.
Now, I found it interesting on some of the questions that were in there, and they used the term that it was rote learning, which is just memorization without really understanding.
Right. Just
It's just or you continually.
Yeah.
yeah,
know,
short-term
that's your brain
memory. And
regurgitating.
a year
So-
after that, you wouldn't remember any of
Yeah.
it.
So I mean, a lot of those questions, it's possible they really didn't understand the answer,
just
but they knew
memorized.
the answer because they'd rattled it off so many times.
Right.
you know?
Define case and illustrate case.
Right.
Oh, okay, cool. I
Yeah,
can define
so-
it. Because
But isn't that's how we learn today?
Yeah, I mean
if you think
that's how
about
we
it.
learn the alphabet, right?
Right.
But the lack of
So-
multiple choice is disturbing. How am I
Yeah.
supposed to pass the friggin' test if I have to write everything down? It's gonna
That's a
take
great
forever.
question. When did multiple choice come into play?
Right? Whenever
That's
our
when-
generation started.
When no 90%,
Yeah.
everybody was below 90%. Oh, we have to do something to
Yeah. I need a punch sheet.
get this up.
When I was in school, the failing grade was 70. What about you guys?
60% or less.
60?
Yeah, it's 60. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine was
I think
70.
it was
Because a D
60
60 was a D.
I think it was 65
So anything below
for us.
60 was fail.
See, 70 was failing for
70
us.
sounds right.
It was 65 for us. It was 65.
70 was a C.
Yeah, 70
it
was
is
a
today,
D
too.
and it failed.
80 was a B,
Anything below
90 to
70,
100.
you failed.
90 to
So
100.
dang
was a
it.
D.
I could have passed with the graduated with a B average. if
I graduated with
had
3.0. I graduated 3.0 and I didn't try at all.
instead of a
Ridiculous.
C average.
You didn't get a 5.0.
Wow.
Well, that was fun.
That was crazy.
Oh,
Made
yeah, it
me-
was wonderful.
Made me feel stupid. But
I'm
hey,
exhausted.
I
Man.
got a headache now.
could be the beer.
Could be.
No,
Probably isn't.
not the beer.
By the
Probably
way,
not.
this is actually gross, just like the other ones. But
Oh,
Why, you didn't like that?
I couldn't drink it fast enough. It's got too much lime.
oh,
is
you're
that
not a
what it is?
lime fan.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad flavor, but it was too
Too limey.
yeah, actually, yeah, it was too limey. It was too limey. And then it's not cold enough anymore because I'm
Oh, they are better cold.
yeah. Well, that's the only way I can drink any of it. It's got to be cold. Because yeah, once it gets warm, it's like all those flavors really come out, and then it's just like
Oh, so what do we got? What do we got coming up?
I don't know.
What's
But
happening on Drunk with Facts this week?
I don't know yet. We haven't gotten that far.
Cool.
But I do have something I want to give you.
Uh-oh.
So Lindsay's got it. I saw this the other day and it reminded me of you.
It's a present.
And I had to get it for you.
Oh, hilarious.
Awesome.
What is it?
Tell me that's not cool.
Oh, badass.
It's Joey's doppelganger.
That's hilarious. That's very cool.
I saw that. I'm like,
Oh, that's
I gotta
awesome.
get that for Joey.
What are we doing at the toy store?
That's
Great.
We were at Ace Hardware.
That's the hardware store?
Yeah,
I'm not going
it
there
was
anymore.
friggin' awesome.
That's cool.
Wow.
So,
Thank you. It's
Yeah, we
it's
saw
really
it and I was
special.
like, oh my God, it's a mini Joey.
as soon as we saw it, I'm like, I gotta get that for Joey.
That was the
I gotta
best
color
costume
my
you ever
beard
did.
again.
It's the best costume you ever did.
That's awesome. So
That's funny.
we did not give a shout out to our sponsor because I didn't have with the power outage. I didn't have time to put them up, but
Oh.
we do have a new sponsor, and it is
Youth Project.
Project Y.
Why?
And I'll
Because
put-
we like you.
because we like you,
Anti-aging cream.
and they have a lot of other products too. So I'll make sure to get it on for next week's show.
My
I
arms
didn't,
aren't long.
I didn't have a chance. Have you been using it since you took it home? He hasn't used it once.
I've got to start it. It's got to be a controlled deal.
It has to be.
Oh, it's like double screen.
Wow.
Right. It's double screen. There you go.
Wow.
Because you're between the two cameras. That's why.
Between two
It's nice
furs.
packaging.
It is
That's a real wood cap on
It is a real wood cap.
Yes. Does it burn? Get the smoker.
It's not a beard cream. It's an anti-aging cream, but they probably will come out with a beard
Anti-wrinkle.
cream eventually.
They'll get there.
It's an anti. They have an eye serum coming out. They have some hair products coming out. So, so
Sweet.
stand by for that. I'll put the ad on next week. I didn't, like I said, with the power outage tonight, I didn't have time to
Fair enough.
get it on there. So we'll do that. next
Unless
week
we
on next
forget.
week's show.
Is there going to be an audio version of this eventually or no?
If you have Alexa read it,
Cool. Oh, okay. I was like, because we could put together an audio version.
we could do that for fun.
Yeah.
We have enough people here. We can easily
That's
do
like,
that.
oh no.
We have the
God.
ability to do it. Why not? Why not? You don't have to do shit. We'll do it.
He's like, help me.
That'd be cool.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it.
So all your books are found on Amazon.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Book Baby, Kobo, just about every site that sells books.
Right on.
So go check it out. All his books out there. You got Butterfly Wish. We have them. We pulled them all up earlier.
Twice Upon a Time.
Yep.
Soul of Juby Walker. So Gently Goes
Hummingbird.
the Hummingbird.
Christmas for the Heart.
Right.
Available.
And that's
audio.
audio only.
That's audio only.
Yeah, that's
Ebook.
ebook only.
Ebook only.
Yeah.
No
And-
audio.
And,
And
Shadows from My Past.
Shadows from my past. I'd love to get some reviews on that because I don't have any on that. So if anybody does pick it up or read or buy the ebook version, which is I think that's only $3.99.
I will read it. I have lots of time
We send
coming
the
up
ebook
on-
for
version.
reading.
On which one? Shadows? You don't have any reviews?
I have no reviews on
Okay.
Shadow.
Why don't we
No.
send it to all of our Patreon account members?
There you go.
Oh, yeah. We can do
Bonus
that.
for being a Patreon
There you
account
go.
member. You get a free ebook.
There you go.
She's also an idea guy.
She is. So
Therefore,
And maybe we could do a contest or something and
whoever gives a review,
They
I'll
get
give
the
a-
audio bird.
a signed copy of the book.
There you go.
We can do that too.
So that's a hint, hint, nudge, nudge. If you go join our Patreon page, do they have to be a specific member or doesn't matter
I
what
don't know
tier?
what tiers there are, but the high one.
Well,
you
there's
get a
3
book.
tiers.
The high one.
Hip hip
the
hooray.
Top tier, you
Oh.
get the ebook sent to you. Please do a review, and then you will get a signed copy mailed to you.
If you do the review.
If you do the
If you do
review.
the-
Oh, wow.
All right. So top tier member,
I love it.
which is only $5 a month.
Booyah.
And there's a lot of good content on there.
You might as well already put one in the mail to Christine.
I think she has one.
I think
already.
she has
She
one.
probably
I
has
offered to do that.
She actually
She
bought
got
one.
the.
She gets my
could
books
you-
before everybody.
So she doesn't. Have you autographed any of hers yet?
No, I
We
made
can
it.
have it autographed and sent.
Not that
Well,
one. I don't
didn't
think you had that one.
Yeah,
yet.
I didn't. I give her one when she was here.
You
She
did,
needs
but I
to
don't
bring
think.
her
them
a
with her
couple
so
when
you
she was
can
here.
so you can autograph them.
Yeah.
Out yet, but she'll be here in a couple months.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think this one was out yet when
Oh,
she came out. Christine, do you have it? That's a good question. So
It's only like midnight.
she's still on. She stays till the end.
She's great.
She's not crazy. She's awesome. She's dedicated.
She's our professional stalker.
I know. It's amazing. She'll
So
be
yeah.
here.
So-
We got her plane ticket.
So go sign up for our Patreon account. You guys get a lot of behind the scenes content. Actually, Joey and I just
She doesn't have it yet.
doesn't
More
have
to
it.
come.
Okay.
More to come.
Perfect. It'll be here when she gets here.
So Joey and I just uploaded a pretty funny video up there a couple of days ago. So go check it out.
Which
It,
one
it,
is it?
it literally almost killed me.
It truly did.
Which one is
Oh,
it?
it's hilarious. We'll play it for you.
It's the one I think it is,
Oh.
isn't it? I don't know.
All
Anyway,
right. Well, until
bye.
next time.
Hey, this has been the truth about beer and
Are you smarter than an eighth grader in 1895?
No.
Hell no.
We all suck.
So, Dad, thanks for being on.
Yeah,
Thank
my
you,
pleasure.
Jack.
As always. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
See ya.
Good night.
Cheers.
Welcome to the truth about beer.